And we're live. Hi, everybody. My name's Rocky Outcrop. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Stonkmerica. In today's show, we'll be talking about all your favorite stocks, technical analysis, financial news in general, catching up with each other, because this is a community which really does genuinely care about your financial independence, about you becoming a self reliant, educated, well informed trader. And that's exactly why you are so important because that's what we do together here on a daily basis. And I notice just this second that I actually forgot that my camera and audio is slightly out of sync because I've changed my stream thing over to Stream Elements. Oh no, what a disaster. Well, got my sound? Aye, got sound. Good morning, Stonkmerica. Welcome to the show. My name's Rocky Outcrop. Welcome back as ever. It's very good to see you. We're a trader. We're a community of traders, a tradeumity, I think I was trying to say there. Yes, so anyway, we're a tradeumity and we help each other become self-reliant, financially independent, successful individuals. And that's what all of you do. So big thanks to all of you for tuning in again today for the show. Yes, there we have it. We're back. Now, my audio and my video are ever so slightly out of sync. Let me just show you this real quick. It's because Streamlabs, Stream Elements even, I changed over. Look, oh my god, the audio and the visuals are slightly different. So there's upsides and downsides to that when I sing along with songs, if I play any songs. At least I'll be in sync with the music. That's an improvement. Yeah, moving over here to Stream Elements, got a few different things on the go. You can see down here, just as I get used to what direction I'm pointing, down there that I've got my social stuff. Right, Rocky Outcrop, not a massive surprise. That's how you find me on the old social interwebs and whatnots. And you also notice that I've got like a couple of the wee little sort of alert things or whatever they are, whatever you would call, whatever you would call them. So you can see recent member Ashley. Way, shout out to Ashley. You're the most recent member according to this thing. Yeah, excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. And that sort of thing. So you can keep an eye out for that if that changes. And over there, I've also got my tip jar thing. Well, let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Way, somebody's putting a tip. I hope it works. I mean, it should work, right? Anyway, top of the morning to you, Rocky. Cheers. Cheers, man. Top of the morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Sipping on peace. Yeah, top of the morning. So we have got news, we've got technical analysis, we've got all sorts coming up today, and it'll be really good to go through all of that with y'all. Yeah, so, and I'll try and keep things nice and light and brief on the news front. So just a couple of quick headlines for you, really, that we'll come back and discuss a little bit later on. Stuff like Ida, Ida, Storm Ida. I hope that you're all doing very well over there. Woof. It's a big one, the biggest one since Katrina, so that's a big deal. And I hope that you're all doing very well, everybody that stands in the path of that thing. Rolls Royce got a wee note from one of its biggest investors. Will you make a new board, please? So we can discuss that as well as rockets land on Kabul airport and the US actually launch a drone strike to take out some ISIS members. And then as a result, some kids actually got hurt as well. And the whole thing's just a complete tragedy. tragedy. So, in better news, though, we have, of course, that last week GameStop did well, which has got people interested about these so-called meme stocks again. Meme stocks, it's so good, isn't it? It's just a topic, it's just a discussion point. Doesn't really matter for any of us what anybody else out there calls them. That's all good. So, people talking about that sort of thing, we can check in with whatever it was that they were saying, why they soared this week. Now, we don't really need to care too much about why they soared this week, because we're right there in the thick of it, right in the eye of the storm. And there's Storm Ida with a wee video over here. Showing the roof of a hospital getting blown off. And later in this clip, a plane flies into the center of the hurricane, so it goes all calm and nice and everything. So we can see all that in a wee bitty, and we'll ask as well, are you ready for uncleared margin rules? We'll ask that. We'll keep asking that until, of course, they kick in, I suppose. And then we'll bring up the chart. So 25 past the hour, we'll get around to talking about the news at the top of the hour. This is, of course, the Rocky Outcrop Show, where y'all subscribe because you form the community. This is the best community for traders out there on the internet, and that's all entirely down to you. That's fantastic. So if that actually sounds like you, then be sure to hit that like button and be back for more of this good stuff. Good to see every single last one of you that's out there, by the way. Again, like I say, it is very good to have you all here with me. Got the likes of Better Call Saul, Sipping on Piss, who dropped in that super chat, Katie Babes out there, Banana Fridge, Trade Spotting, good morning, Sunflower Cat, hey, Daniel Groves, and all y'all, Jiu-Jitsu Guy as well, whoopah, chop, chop. So, what's this thing? That's support. That had that big old rise up last week. Now, one of the things I suppose, like what we like to do here is look back, audit ourselves, make sure that we've got our technical analysis on point, and we do. We do for the most part. Okay, so whenever I opened up the chart there the other day, I was like, whoa, I'd short this thing. And I'm not quite sure what price it was at whenever I had it open. What time frame is this? The 15-minute time frame. Let's put it on the 4-hour time frame real quick. Okay, we'll take a look at Roblox suggests coming in from Katie. So if you want to get your suggestions in there, then of course do. So the charts opened up and we saw 20% movement towards the downside or so, and I was talking in the clip on Friday, on the video on Friday, that about what I would do in this situation, and then I looked back afterwards and I could see that my internet was so choppy that it actually edited my video throughout to keep cutting it down. So like throughout the entire thing, I think I did a 2.5 hour video that turned into a 1.5 hour video. So much apologies to everybody that suffered through that buffering, but it meant that you didn't get to hear certain points that I was making about things. Anyway, the analysis on this one it turned out to be kind of crazy because of the chops. Anyway, they had shorted this thing from its highs down to that low, just in terms of the massive movement that there was. I'd have been really anticipating at the start of trading whether or not there'd have been some sort of descent in the price, having had such a massive gap form just to kick off the day, and I would have been wanting to capitalize on that because these events were incredibly tradable. Then I would have wanted to have looked for where we were going in terms of where we'd actually settle out for the day after the trading with a potential rise up. So when I was talking about this, I was talking about trading it on very, very small term time frames. Ultimately, of course, as well, the prices then did close for the day down at 26. So again, you would have got another opportunity to get in perhaps somewhere around about the $50 zone and then back down to 26 again. Really depends, and it's one of these questions then that comes down to how you think about stop losses and how you think about entering trades, etc., and all that good stuff. So we can talk about that, and we will be talking about that throughout the week. In fact, this week we've got very enjoyable things to look forward to. Not least of which is a sort of development of a education program by Jamie, that's Trade Spotting, and myself, which we will be doing via the Discord as we kind of put together what it is that how we would talk about things. and all that for this course. So we're kicking that off, I think, tonight in the Discord and video chat. So we'll do a little bit of that. So make sure that you're a part of all of that. We will be doing something tonight, this evening, more of an introduction, kind of like what we'll be talking about throughout the week, etc. Hoping to, I think the general idea that Jamie and I have is that by Friday, hopefully, we'll have kind of figured out how to present something in an hour to give you a takeaway. But we don't know, because the topics that we're going to talk about are just so in depth that really, sort of thing that could maybe form a 30-hour course all in itself. So we're not sure exactly how we'll do that. But it's exciting times that we're putting that out there. It's good to be doing that stuff. Excited for it myself. Now, great stuff. Wouldn't actually be necessarily talking about how you would trade that particular event. It's just something that we're talking about. And we've got another request that came in from Pallard Dog. Cheers, Pallard Dog. That's awesome. So we'll be taking a look at Roblox, and we'll be taking a look at BB. That, of course, is Blackberry. Cool, excellent. Well, we'll get around to doing that in just a second. The one thing that I would say here is that the show might actually be interrupted today as I get numerous deliveries through from Amazon, from the jungle. My flat is a jungle. My flat is a jungle. Actually, at the minute, because I've got a bunch of stuff lying around, really do need to tidy up again before I start, adding even more peripheral stuff around me. But anyway, one of the things that's being delivered is a chair, and whether or not it's more comfy than this chair, I'm kind of beyond caring. I cannot wait to get rid of this black thing from behind me, blocking up the part of the screen. I want to be floating here without that, so gosh, I'm excited about that. Hey! Anyway, right, so moving on with the show, let's just jump on over to Roblox. Roblox. All of the roadblocks. The roadblocks are really getting popular. People don't like you driving down their roads these days. This thing was TradeSpot and was talking about this first. He told me all about the roadblocks the other day when I was listening to him chatting. Sleeping policemen, that sort of thing. Bumps. Everything. It's not so much curbs as it's actually on the road blocks things itself that this company sells. Anyway, popular stuff, and this is the 4-hour time frame going back to over here on the 10th of March 2021 all the way up towards the end of August here, where we find ourselves currently. And in the meantime, there was a high and there was a low over here, and we've moved around a wee bit, so we can do some sort of basics on this one just now and kind of establish where we are with it. So this is a request from Katie, and hopefully then it's of interest to lots of people. So I have at the minute open behind me a chart which is effectively like a new clean chart, nothing over there, nothing on the chart other than the Ichimoku cloud. So that looked like one really big candle there, didn't it, when I had it lined up like that? That's nice, isn't it, how you can do that with your charts? Isn't that nice? Right. So let's do this kind of together. Okay. Let's just do a little quick analysis of this thing for together. So starting off from the all-time lows to the all-time highs, and the all-time lows is actually the prices that this thing got on its first session trading, all the way up to the all-time higgly highs over there. And we can see that when we did have this pullback down the way here, it went to the 618. Okie dokie, it went to the 618, and that's interesting. That's kind of the sort of thing that we would be talking about in the education this week. This sort of thing is going to be making its way onto the show as Daniel Lesage drops in a $5. Thanks so much. Prices are hidden off screen for us. Okie dokie. Thanks so much for that, Pallor Dog. Great timing on that one. Let's put those. You can see that actually way too wide on that front. Didn't notice when I had the. When I had the news open. When I had the news. I didn't notice because the websites for the news, I've got the text down the middle. Let's try it. I reckon if I'm about a centimetre away there. Got pretty close. Woo, that'll do. But I don't think I really want the options, all that crap on the right on the screen. So I'll just pull it a bit more and see if that fits. Whoa, that looks pretty good. Oh, hey. All right then, cool. So we can crack on. Excellent. Thanks so much for that. The prices so far have not actually been mentioned as we've done this analysis, right? So that's, not too big a deal in terms of not having been able to see them so far. But yeah, we had this low, and the low that I'm drawing the Fibonacci in is from the all-time low, and that's on the very first bar that was ever made on this thing on the 4-hour time frame over there on the 21st of March 2021. And the high I'm putting in up to the high up there that came in around about $100. It was actually $103, I think, on the 103.87 on the 4th of June 2021. And from those lows to those highs, if you draw on a Fibonacci retracement, which is a tool that we use to analyze movements within markets as we see movements in nature and stuff like that. And we came down to this golden pocket area, the 618 golden pocket zone, which is of course that golden area that you do anticipate things coming to. So we'll be talking about that as with relation to different stuff throughout the week in this education thing. Anyway, thereafter then we rose back up the way, and at this stage I want to see how far then did we actually come back up. So I'm going to draw in a second Fibonacci, and I can use that high up there down to the low, which was actually the low that came in on the 27th of June. Now that pushed just a little bit past the 618 golden pocket, but it then came back up into it for its close, actually above it, closing above the golden pocket itself. But I'm going wick to wick on my Fibonacci here, and we can see that with the most recent rise up that we came right back again to the 618 golden pocket. Okie dokie. And then so far then we've pulled back down to around about where that 50% line is. So if we were to draw in one final Fibonacci going from those lows then up to the recent highs, so that's all three phases of the market covered out here. We can see that the 236 on this one is in at 86 bucks, and I'll just pop a few horizontal lines on here so I can ditch the Fibonacci's and look at the sort of confluences between them, etc. just here, just now. So just looking here at the 236 there, and then the 382 that came in then on the next level down. That's down at I've just confused myself. Can you believe this? Yeah, I've got that lined up wrong. So the 236 Fibonacci was 86, and we've moved past that already. And then you would naturally be aiming towards the 382 that comes in at around about $83.40. That'd be your natural kind of next place to be looking to. And then the 618 golden pocket, and now the 618 golden pocket happens to line up with the 236 Fibonacci retracement from the if we were to go back down and test that area again, which would be a significant retest overall. So that would be in there at 78.39. So those are a couple of key lines for us to be aware of in around about where the potentially we could find some support perhaps in this zone just here if we do continue dropping. But right now obviously we're experiencing a pullback so far on this one. Now I can go back out the way and just review what we've done so far here real quick. Is I've drawn in a Fibonacci from the all-time lows to the all-time highs, which showed us that the most recent low came in at a 618 golden pocket retracement, and that's kind of just good to know that that's where we're standing with that one. That's a typical area to see things turn around at. Then when we had this next trend in price action from June until August, that took us all the way up to the next golden pocket, which would be the golden pocket from the all-time high down to that low that we experienced in June. And then with regards to the retracement against this movement up, so far we've come down past the 236. We'd be hoping to see a bounce at the 382, but of course we could see it go on down to lower levels. A good buy price on this one would be in around about the sort of the $80 area, as opposed to necessarily 83 if we do push a bit further. And the reason for that we can say is, if we just hide all the drawings back to where we started again, is this is where the Ichimoku cloud is coming in at. So the Ichimoku cloud is coming in at a couple of different areas at the minute, talking around about that 84 area and at around about that 80 area if you're to just go straight kind of down towards it at the minute. So we know that's where our prior resistance sort of were before on the way up, and where our support then therefore could be now, and those would be a couple of areas to look to, I suppose, so if we didn't find an immediate bounce just now. So that's the current situation around the whole of this what brings us up to here. And all of that was done on the 4-hour time frame. And what we're going to look at just now for the last little bit here, and when I do the rest of the analysis on other things throughout the day, by the way, I'll be a lot briefer about it, and include perhaps more things as well as a result of being able to be briefer about this thing. about these things, but we're going to look down the time frames just now as well and put in some extra sort of ideas of confluence and patterns, etc., and see where we are. But what we've done so far is we've analyzed the movement up and the movements back down again towards these lows and the movement back up again, and seen where we've come in relation to all of the prior prices, and then of course established that if we were to not find if we're looking at this and saying, well, okay, so the last number of 4 hour candles were to the downside. If this were to continue, which obviously on a small term time frame like the 15 minutes would obviously look like there's been a bit more downward travel, as we can see just here. If we were to see this sort of thing continue with 15-minute time frame, sorry, I was way out just there, way out. We've had this downward travel here over the last while. So if this were to continue, where could it go to? We've established a couple of areas where we were hoping to see it turn around if it were to not already be about to do that, etc., etc. So so we've established that, and we did that, and we were able to then draw in a couple of areas in around about this 83, 84 region where you might find reasons for it to turn around beyond what we're about to look at. And the Ichimoku cloud, looking at terms of like highlighting to us this $80 region as being structurally important for us, and knowing that if we were to push down and you're looking to catch that sort of wick at around about this for a turnaround, you'd be hoping to get that at about 78.70, something like that. And that would be the kind of the picture of the continuation of this thing. So that would be the kind of the general expectations of somebody who's kind of short on this, perhaps in this region, as one other way of looking at it. Now I can just ditch all those drawings because they've done well, they served us well. But now what we want to look at is kind of just how we're getting on in this region over here. And I'm going to do that on a smaller term time frame, just so I can analyze this this movement up overall, and just look at those lows, etc., along the way, and ask questions about how we've been getting on so far. So in terms of the highs along here, have we had divergence? And we haven't, so that's good. So this pullback's been kind of normal enough in that sense. We already know because we did this before, but we'll just kind of do it briefly again, that we're just down below the 236, but it's just down below there. So very positive on this thing again, back above $86. Very good again. We're at the cloud here in the 1 hour time frame, so that's pretty good. We already know about the 83, 84 region, how that would be anticipated because we're past the 236. So we're in this region. So starting off the trading for today and seeing that the pre-market prices are kicking around about $85. Looking for this momentum to see how it goes as things open. Can we actually push up beyond this region at the start of in the opening range and be trading, looking to try and get up and around past this zone and continue on, or will we need to see this continuation down the way? And how would things look then overall from that perspective if we did see something like that? And just kind of looking at these highs here and seeing that they're not regimented along the way in such a nice clean cut format to be able to say that there's as so easily to look for a channel if you take it from these lows up the way, because it pushes you so far away from that most recent high. But if you go from this area just over here and you go 1 touch to 2 touches to then 3 touches, you do get the idea of an upward channel. Now again, then starting with this low and this one and on up the way, we can see this kind of abhorrent price action that pushed quite low outside of that zone. So if you were to be connecting up these things, it goes very far away. Whereas if you go on up, just kind of looking at where the price action itself is and think about this, it's got this channel aspect to it, but I'd be a little bit wary about this as well because of the way that it lines up, the way that these lows like to look like they're trying to get closer together along the way. If you just kind of take out this knot of price action at the 618 golden pocket, then it starts to look quite wedgy. So if you were to turn around at this point just from here, you'd have to ask questions about whether or not this has been a satisfactory retrace in terms of the movement. Do you understand what I'm trying to say there? Just go over that real quick again. If we were to be looking at this as a parallel channel, it's okay, right? And you can do it with like these 3 lows down here and just kind of cut through that one particular body and kind of hope to get away with it on the basis that would be a wick on a bigger time frame, and we've got closures in here at the other areas, and that's okay. But of course that implies potential for further downward movement. Over here, if you change it to a wedge like thing, then of course there is this little bit of a need perhaps to kind of inflect and around this area just now. but as well, this would be a bearish price pattern. So 123, etc. Maybe we'd come up here and fail to take out our high and then pull down, or maybe we'd come up here and put in a really divergent high and then pull back down, and then afterwards go for where the next subsequent sort of 618 retraces at that point, and so on and so forth. So we can kind of just keep an eye out for that though, but we know how we want to see this thing starting and so on. Okay, so that was a little bit longer on that one than I planned on spending really overall for it. We can see in terms of little things like, you know, the confusion and the chop in the market just here as we cross around over the stochastics back and over again, and you can see the same sort of effect on the go in terms of the chop on the markets, not on this 1 hour DMI where we're in, judiciously trending. There's an amount of a strength there, but it's not anything decent. Over to something like the 4 hour time frame instead, where we can see this thing coming right into this volatility territory, which does imply that if things kind of just go really sideways and struggle a wee bit, that we would push up and then come back down again perhaps thereafter to retest this area. So maybe we do get one more thrust inside that wedge as that kind of goes for now, and perhaps even, we retest this as a breakout at one point, and then that satisfies any future lack of volatility sort of zones. Something to plan for, I guess, in that sense, right? And then we were also talking about how we want to take a look at BIBI. So I'll go over to Blackberry Limited here on the NYSE and bring it up for us, and just make sure that I'm keeping up all right. Stream is flowing good, brother. Keep it going, says Bad Mama Jama. Lovely, excellent stuff. Thanks so much for that. Lepton Inc. jumping in here. Thank you for all you do. Curious about your quick opinions on SOFI and Invitae. No worries if you don't get to do it. Have a great day. Lepton, that's really, really generous of you with the $20. Thank you so much for that. Thanks for everybody keeping me going along nice and wise here. Bulldog coming in there with a hippo on a spinny chair sticker. That's what I'll be feeling like perhaps whenever I get my new chair delivered to me. It's nothing special, it's just a chair. Right, over here, boom. Well, looks like we've kind of discussed this area a good job, talking about how if we didn't find a fine support here at 955, that we could quite possibly going down to the 870 region. Seems that we did obviously find that support in there. Wonder how this all went down and what particular methodology I was using to do it. Sometimes I do really wish I had a more kind of impressive memory for myself when it comes to remembering where we've been with price action over the course. Now, if you're a type of fanny that believed in fractals, you'd probably be tempted to talk about fractals on this thing, but of course only a complete moron that's new to markets would think about fractals as being a thing that's actually worth talking about. It's misinformation and shouldn't be talked about by professionals who haven't got any sort of sense of actually, doing this properly, because nobody in the professional world ever that's made any success of themselves ever used fractals ever. So that's something to be considered as you look at fractals. But anyway, here you have them, and down at these lows, we know that there's certain things to look out for in terms of charts, such as these instances of bullish divergence that we saw in the oscillators down below. Of course, over here with this one, it's quite obvious to me that would be the case. Now, we've had this volatility oscillator thing come to us and just say, hey, look out, right? So let's just take a quick look-see over here at this. What candle was it? Because we like to audit ourselves and make sure that we always keep things real. So it could be that we see the prices on this come back down. That's $10. So I'm looking for $10 on Blackberry as my entry. Now, the analysis on this one is going to just be for today, I suppose. Actually, we'll try and keep things nice and simple with this. Not necessarily, not today, but this is kind of like the analysis for, could be today, could be the first 4 hours of trading, it could be some point this week, but I'm looking for Blackberry prices to come back in and retest $10, right? So that'd be that. So how far can we go in the meantime? Where would we go in the meantime if that's the case? Now, the reason I make that supposition, by the way, or that proposition I should maybe say, is because of course this volatility thing that happens on the DMI that I'm naming. This is of course the Rocky Outcrop indicator. It's part of the Rocky Outcrop suite of tools that I use. If you and people who consider themselves to trade in a similar format to me, having watched along, the Rocky Outcrop Titians of the world, or these are the sort of things that of course we look to for charts, and that's an interesting one right there to be keeping our eye out for. So we'll be asking the question of do we see a return? Do we see return to $10. Now, I wasn't 100% sure because I didn't really line the mouse up so properly on that. Was it $10.08 specifically that we want to look to? Something like, we can audit this, I suppose, just now, in fact. Where was that candle close at? That was it. So let's call it $10.13. So we'll just, we'll try and call this to the exact penny, even though that's obviously preposterous, right? But that's what we're going to do. Do we see a return to 10.13, right? So this is based on the RO flash, right? So we'll call that for just now. So that's what we're asking about there. And we're also going to just quickly kind of establish where we've come so far with relation to how the recent price action has gone. And the question, I suppose, in terms of this question, do we see a return to $10.13, can also be surmised as saying, will we find that the cloud itself, which is kind of looking something like this here at the minute, will we find the cloud itself is the resistance at this point to take us down, or will we be able to go up towards challenging the higher areas of the cloud? We already have this target in here at the yellow line, so we know that there's a few things on the go happening for us. Of course, this has been an upward movement so far, so we're entitled, if you like, entitled is a strong word, but we're allowed, I suppose, to feel somewhat pleased with how price has moved so far, and you can see that that's right where the 236 is. So there's a good deal of reasons to be positive about this, because it's brought us all the way up to where we are, and there's also a degree of caution for us to be aware of. So if we did push past this, we could be going up towards like the 50% line in there at 1387. We could be going at 1265, and then of course afterwards you'd be set up for a very good shorting opportunity. Something to look out for if we if that's on the cards there. So that's something to be aware of. We'll just audit our own TA. This TA essentially boils down to, we're on the way up so far. If we get continuation, then we're taking out the 236. That's pretty good, in which case we'll aim towards the 1261 price point, and then thereafter up towards the 1398 price point, both of which put us within the cloud, depending on the timings of how we manage to achieve that. You know, if we did it straight away, then we'd be going right up towards the top of the cloud there, and then back down without busting outside of that zone. And then of course we'd be asking about whether or not we actually push down as far as this region overall on that one, just purely out of curiosity's sake as well. Say you're to go flicking between 618s etc and 236s, and where that comes in at, the 618 golden pocket lines up perfectly with where that flash is, right? Okay, so there's another degree of confluence here with regards to this little area right here with and of course Fibonacci retracement, typical sort of key magnet areas to be looking to. Pretty nifty, right? That's different, that's unusual. It's a high level technical analysis done by somebody who genuinely not only knows what they're talking about, it's professional, has been at this for years, but is actually really concerned about your own ability to become financially independent, you know? So these are the types of lessons that somebody who wanted to sort of drip feed themselves with reliant audience wouldn't tell you. Instead, I'm here to help kind of bring you the secrets, reveal the secrets behind trading, and really, actually open your eyes, enlighten you to the way that the markets actually move and how things actually work. It's very top level stuff. In the future, in 20, 30, 40 years time, people will look back and regard me as being one of the most one of the best traders that's ever lived. It's quite possible that actually ends up happening. So overall here, this is pretty nifty to have this documented publicly and talk about it in an open source sort of way, instead of being like all those jackasses from the past. So with that being said, we're also asked to take a look at a couple of different stockeroonies over here. What was it? It was Leptin, wasn't it? Leptin, you jumped in with a request. I saw that came in. Thank you for all you do. Again, yes, you're welcome. And it was SOFI and Invitae. So I don't know, what is NVTA, right? You asked for NVTA. Invitae. Oh, Invitae Corporation, huh? Invitae. Yes, Invitae. Invitae. So over here on Invitae, oh Invitae, why Invitae, why Invitae? Where is this? July, Invitae, you started moving up towards these highs over here last year, just like the rest of the market in Invitae. You did a very good job putting in those lows down there, just like everything else did there in Invitae. And then what's happened is that you have, really done a great job running all the way up there, but we're all eyes are going to be on this gap over here, of course, at the minute. Can we go back down to fill in that area? Let's draw in a couple of rays, horizontal ray over here, horizontal ray, right on these gosh darn doodads. Where's my magnet? There we have it. On that doodad just there. And we'll draw a ray in on this doodad down here. Invitae. Why Invitae? Why? Why Invitae? You'll notice that I use the logarithmic chart, by the way, for almost all of the time. I think that when you look at the geometry of trading, that the logarithmic chart does a better job of expressing the geometry of if you're talking about things in terms of if you think about things in terms of like Fibonacci, etc., with regards to geometry, then that would be how you would I think it was a better way of doing it, right? As a general rule. So a couple of quick things to point out here, right? Invitae. This is, and we're going to do this for just a minute or two here and talk about a couple of broad stroke concepts, and then we're going to jump over and take a look at SOFI or SOFI or whatever you want to call it, do a couple of broad stroke concepts on that one and see what we see. But this is Invitae, and then at the top of the hour we'll get around to talking about some news. That will be 2 p.m. UK time, of course, 9 a.m. East Coast American time. Good morning. Oh, yawn with me. Drink your coffee with me. Hit the like button with me. Thanks for joining me. Here we have Invitae, and over the course of the most recent bull market, taken in from those lows of the global pandemic market lows, all the way up to these highs that we had here in December 2020, we've actually suffered this year, going against the grain of most of the markets out there. You know, you can do a quick comparison point on this one to really point it out for people to be able to see by bringing up the index of the S&P and comparing that. As you can see from this prices down here at the lows when we were down here in March, that there was a continual almost very consistent upward trend all the way up to where we are right now, having just put in yet more all-time highs. Whereas over here in December time, the upward movement on this one certainly ceased and then of course descended towards the downside thereafter, looking maybe towards this gap area, the gap being on the charts in around $21, having kicked off at around $18.50. That happened over there on the 25th of June. So when the market low came in at around about the 20th of March or 14th of March or so, and then the price as in the markets moved towards the top side, we came in here and shot up with a big volume candle at the 1850, putting in a nice runaway gap and of course going towards the top side. Absolutely fantastic, a good breakaway runaway, all of the upside positivity there with that one. And then of course ever since when we were looking back down the way, although it seems of course a radical change in prices to go all the way down to $20, having been as high as $61.59, and you're looking at $40 being wiped off the price of this stock, and that's 2/3 of its value, it is conceivable that they actually do go down and challenge that zone. Now, if they do, it's about a question then when you get there would be a question of where you, of course, would be, what you'd be doing at the point where you actually arrive. Over here, there was a signal on the DMI. It's called the Rocky Outcrop Flash, and what it signals to you is that the candle at which the prices dropped off again is where we'll see the prices coming back to. And just to review that situation, we saw that this happened in around about this zone. We dropped down, came back up, and fulfilled that all as if it was preordinated. Anyway, with this downward movement, there is the chance that you're looking at sort of wedge price action. So we've got this down here. Now, it's not super fantastic. If I look between this low and the most recent low, those two do line up, but I can't form a wedge going back 3 touches. So quick question to everybody in the audience then, I suppose, at this point. If I can't go back that far, what do you think we're going to see on the MACD down below with regards to these lows here recently? And if I draw in this here at the top, then what we're going to see with regards regards to it as well as with these tops. If we're getting a wedge on the charts, what could we see at this point just between these two zones? And if we can't include this third point, what are we going to look at in terms of the MACD down below? How many instances of whatever it is that we're about to talk about will we see, etc.? Now, don't worry too much about actually answering that question right here as we bring up the MACD to talk about this concept as it is. Now, going here between these two lows and then coming back up into the price action, you can see that these two lows are distinctly moving in an upward direction. If the red area is this much red and then this much red thereafter, less red, there's less negative, the momentum towards that downside tapering off. And you can see that between these 2 points here, that gives us a bit of bullish divergence, which is quality to see, extending this back all the way towards this zone. And then we can see that is bullishly divergent throughout that period. Popping up the charts here and looking between these two. Now it's a question, I was like, will we see some going even further back, as I hear a bunch of knocking and dumping and jumping and thumping outside, and maybe that is my postman arriving, or else it's just the vacuum cleaner outside. That's the vacuum cleaner outside. Going back the way, we can see that this actually did have divergences all the way back as far as this point over here as it happens now. And going back any further than that, then we're not getting the divergences. So when we go back any further than that, where does that take us into? Shit, I've gone on for way longer than this than I meant to. This high. Right, we'll come back and take a look at SOFI later on in the show. So that's where we are just now. We've got we've only really got 2 proper touches on this thing though, but you could make a case for us being in this sort of formation over here. Let's see what it looks like on the 4-hour time frame as it happens. Yeah, so you could make this sort of a case over here, and yeah, and you can see that the distinction between the divergences in terms of like this being class B almost and not quite there. Just between these 2 points there wasn't any divergence, and at this point here a couple lows not really divergent between each other, but of course divergent across the broader scheme, and that's the distinction that we're seeing of course whenever I was making that comparison on the MACD before. So yes, and this could of course be a bullish price pattern, but the range on this thing, the range is 43 down as low as say 30 if you're taking it in there, a $13 range that could push you from 29 all the way up to, again of course, up towards those 42 areas, putting in a lower high on that time frame. That would be the 24-hour time frame by that stage. Putting in a lower high just there, that would continue this thing on the way, and then this kind of shocking area would simply just look like this more or less. So it would look more like that, and then you'd have your broader wedge that would eventually take you down towards that 50%, or indeed the golden pocket to fill the gap if it actually did need to, but just take you down to the 50% in terms of potentially getting a touch on this one. That would be kind of like that if we don't see a turnaround. Anyway, we've got the bullish divergence from these 2 points just here, so we're hoping to see a turnaround. So far, we've done pretty well. Can we actually get out of that area between these highs and lows? How actually far did we retrace back up the way again each time that we did? There came up to the 618. Interesting. Good to see on that front. Over here came up to the not quite at the 618 just yet. That would be the top end of the wedge. So looking for me, I'm looking for 10% movements towards the top side. Then I'm looking for a pullback. The pullback down the way could be a movement of fairly steep, and it could take us all the way down to $20. It could be another 30% drop down in price action. Looking for continuation currently for maybe another 5 to 10% move towards the top side. Going to be asking severe questions about whether or not the price is able to push past these higher level Fibonacci retracement points. Need to take out the 786 here, so we can take out our previous structural previous high, and then push on up towards getting that 100% retrace. If we take out the 786 and the 886, I think that there's a fairly decent chance that we ultimately see the prices moving up towards 44. I would be 44. I'm targeting 44 here on this one, so I'm targeting 44 on this in here at 44, but I'm also as well targeting the 50% if this happens. In the meantime, I've got question mark happening with inflection at that point just there, and that's what our analysis boils down to. We're back at the top of the hour. We'll take a look at SOFI again just real soon. Jumping over to take a look at some of these news articles, and I'd just like to say thank you all for joining me for this show. Good morning, Stonkmerica. Is now 9 a.m. if you are on the east coast of America. Over here we have the I'm looking at the wrong camera, by the way, throughout this entire thing, so I apologize to people. That's the camera, not that one. Whoopsie doopsie. Old habits, even if they're new habits, die hard, hey? So yeah, thanks so much for joining me. Good morning, Stonkmerica. 2 p.m. 3 p.m. over here in the UK, or 2 p.m. like I say, 2 p.m. in the UK and 9 a.m. in the USA. Whoa, 9 a.m. in the USA. Whoa, in the USA. Stormida In the USA, wow, that's that hospital roof well and truly gone. It's remarkable, isn't it? It's like these animations we see in movies where they do that. Seems somehow that life has imitated our artistic interpretation there. Is that what happened? I'm not sure. The pilots flew into the eye of the storm here. You can see it's a very calm experience for them. You know, them up there being all having a good time in the eye of the storm. It's all very nice for them, isn't it? I dare say that they think it's a jolly good show, all lovely and calm. Whereas down on the ground level, we're seeing a very different story, and that's why I would like to extend my greatest good vibes to everybody over there. The coast of New Orleans with winds of up to 150 miles an hour. It's even more powerful than Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. And remember that, of course, that was a very, 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 very big disaster in the end. So what we're looking for here is for everybody to get through this one unharmed, and I really do hope that that's the case. And you can see the water really giving those trees a good drink. The houses getting a good drink as well. It's been a while since they've had one. All that offshore stuff over there probably experiencing its own issues as well. The rain kicking on down. Hope that those levees and all that are holding strong for everybody over there in America. So good luck with that one. I can see it's cutting a good swathe right through the middle of America. So good luck to everybody that stands in its path. Over here we've got the GameStop website. GameStop can't stop, won't stop. GameStop, a stock we've not looked at today so far, but that we will be getting back around to looking at, of course, very much soonly. And we have we've got their newsroom. I thought we'd check in their newsroom and just see how things are going. We can also read what they've got on their investor relations thing. But over here, just basically, you know, there isn't really any news to announce as yet, really. We've got, like, of course, our release date for the earnings, and that is the September the 8th, I do believe. Yes, indeed, September the 8th, Wednesday. So that is what we've got to look forward to. And I suppose that's the big news in terms of that front. Nothing really all that much, to be honest with you. Over here on the investor relations page, we can see their sort of latest chitter chatter, and it's the same thing. It's just that that we are looking at the 8th of September. But there's one thing that I thought that I would point out, and it's something that Jamie and I have talked about and joked about an awful lot of times over the course. Now, one of the biggest manifestations of this joke was after a conversation that Jamie and I had one night with regards to how far this thing could really go if we MOAS properly, and how amazingly wonderful the potential of this company could be if it were to actually try and take its place in the top dog arena and become one of those biggest companies in the world, and how we would own it, you know, and that would be fantastic. And by we, I don't mean Jamie and myself, I mean all of us here, everybody that's a trader that wants to take part in this overall kind of movement for self-determination through GameStop, and how the name of it isn't that important. And I think it's important to point this out, that GameStop is to rebrand EB Games in Canada. Now, what's in a name? A name is a name is a name, but this piece of news went kind of under the radar. Grapevine, Texas, July 28th, 2021. GameStop today announced that the company plans to rebrand EB Games in Canada. So by the end of this year, EB Games Canadian locations and online stores will assume the GameStop brand and name. Now, Jamie and I were joking about this. We're going to own the biggest company in the world, and we're going to call it Banana, you know, good stuff like that. But we can see that there's a consolidation, I suppose, in terms of the GameStop brand, and it's good to see that. Can't stop, won't stop, GameStop, all that good stuff. And we're consolidating and bringing that more cross borders, which is good to see, because GameStop, which is really just an local American company. Now, America, big company, big market, big country, but you know, the fact of the matter is that they want to have a global audience and roll out their e-commerce solutions globally, and that's going to be, of course, under the name GameStop. Over here, looking at meme stock, so to speak, how to find meme stocks like GameStop and AMC. So if you're looking for the next one and you're just joining us here to chat about the financial markets and start off your day right and become a self-reliant trader and be a part of this community, of course, then that's one thing. You might not actually even know much about GameStop, in which case, if you and you might think to yourself, gosh, I missed some of that. Now, you're not too late in any of these senses for any of these things at all, but of course you'll want to use good techniques in order to maximize your position on anything that you take. And I'm not a financial advisor, none of this financial advice, but here's an article telling us allegedly how to find GameStop type stocks, right? So that's good to know. It's something that we've all been wanting to find out how to get, how will we know what the next one is, etc. You know, stocks have steadily advanced in 2021 as the economy rebounded. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert, it doesn't tell you. But I just thought I'd read through this one. Time to go for a wee, I suppose, for anybody that wants one of them. Boil the kettle, make yourself a cup of coffee. We'll be back around looking at the charts again shortly, when we will actually take a look at AMC and GME before the markets open, and cryptocurrencies and all that as well. Good to see people out there in the chat. And by the way, nice to see you, Mr. Win. I appreciate the teaching and learning you guys give for helping to trade in general and for the post-MOAS too. Thank you so much, and you're welcome, by the way. You're welcome very much for that. I'm going to just keep on going on here. Stocks have steadily advanced in 2021. Well, we've had our finger on the pulse of that, of course. You know, streaming live every day, we know all about it. And to those previously left for dead, companies like GameStop and AMC Entertainment, well, you know, of course, as well, that was debatable, but that's right. It's what we're going to talk about. These long-suffering stocks of blah, 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 and now meme stock. Meme stock has no precise definition. Of course, it's just a word, and it's kind of bullshit. It's also kind of undermines, it's not actually a deliberate attempt, in my opinion, to undermine your investment confidence. But I would say that talking about things like meme stocks is just stupid. You know, people talked about it just is, right. People talk about popular stocks all the time. It's never been anything other than that. And if you like, for some reason, people didn't call Tesla a meme stock ever throughout this entire thing. I don't know why not. It is the biggest meme in stocks, is Tesla. If you wanted to talk to somebody out there and you're like, so you're a trader, when did you start trading? In the last 5 years? What have you traded? Then you're going to be finding that they're telling you that they traded AMD, Tesla, stuff like that, right? They're the meme stocks, really. Anyway, top meme stocks, of course, Tesla, amazing performance, up thousands of percent as well. Retail investors are always searching for stocks to send to the moon. Below some are some of the hottest names. Social media users are buzzing around. Also, I guess the thrust here is that to find them, you just look at what social media people are talking about. Top 16 meme stocks this week on Reddit. Alibaba, Nvidia, AMC, GameStop. I don't know, at what point does it stop being meme stocks? We're talking about Alibaba and Nvidia. Alibaba, you know, it's such a meme stock, man. Such a meme stock. Alibaba, what? You trade Alibaba? It's a meme stock, bro. Nvidia, you trade Nvidia, man. What a meme stock. This is just clickbait, basically, that we're looking at here. So I just wanted to point that out, and the overall thrust and subtext of what I'm trying to say to everybody and to educate people about is about your investment confidence, right? When people call things meme stocks, etc., what do they really mean, and how do they understand them? So, like, how to trade meme stocks. Trading meme stocks isn't as simple as it sounds. Yes, it is. It's exactly as simple as it sounds. Basically, what you do is you just do exactly the same as you do with any other stock. You'll find that meme stocks are, in fact, it's just a word that's been made up. And it's exactly the same as everything else. It takes hours to surf through Reddit forums. This is a complete lie. What you'll find is that 99.99999% of what you see on there is bollocks. It requires a huge, carefully coordinated online movement. Not really, just requires some good TA overall, mostly. But sending meme stocks to the moon, and if you want to make it into a so-called meme stock, then what you need is a social media presence, and then you can pump it and dump it if you like as well. But I suppose there's different types of meme stocks. Sending meme stocks to the moon isn't the rocket science either. Insider has interviewed investing pros, who have simple strategies for spotting meme stocks, as well as the creator of a site that saves investors time by scanning Reddit forums for the next big meme stock. Just as important as findings for the next hot meme stock is avoiding common trading mistakes. An analyst who covered GameStop since 2002. Oh, that's a long time, man. He's covered GameStop since 2002. Wow. Told Insider how to spot short squeezes and avoid getting burned. Well, how are those two things related? If you had something to say about GameStop, having covered it since 2002, that'd be interesting. But if you're going to talk about short squeezes, then what's that got to do with anything? This is just a relatively recent aspect with the GameStop trading. Anyhow, and a strategist shared how to avoid landmines in a rapidly evolving investing landscape that now includes meme stocks. Well, I think it's all bollocks. There you go, that's my opinion. We'll just keep this going for another couple of minutes. We'll be done by 1:15. We'll give ourselves 15 minutes to take a look at the GameStop and AMC charts before the markets open, and of course to take a look at cryptocurrency. So what? GameStop will next week report its financial results. Beside the fact that there was no fundamental news for these names this week, hey, look, I think this is the only thing I wanted to take away from this article. I read it. I'm quite cynical. as a person, quite skeptical, cynical. I certainly, definitely espouse that notion of being able to rely on yourself and your own opinion and where you get your own data from. I like the clinical nature and the charts and the way that they're not confused by Howard Smith's opinion or anything like that. But anyway, GameStop. So, anyways, besides the fact, right? Besides the fact there was no fundamental news from these names this week. There was trading happened. Whoa! Besides, there was no fundamental news this week. There was no fundamental news this week, but trading happened. Wow! I mean, on August the 25th, they announced that they would be putting out their results on the September the 8th, and I suppose, in a sense, that's fundamental news, isn't it? In a way, but yeah, you're right. You're right. GameStop was a really good buy 6 months ago, and it was a really good buy last week. Fundamentally, they're the same thing. That's mental, isn't it? Mental, Howard. Anyway, thanks for your opinion and piece on that one, Howard. Other bits of news: rocket fired at Kabul airport. Okay, we covered that a wee bit. It's tragic, human tragedy, the tragedy of war. Man's inhumanity to man makes countless thousands mourn. That's enough said on that front. Rolls-Royce biggest investors calls for a board refresh. This is an interesting one. I actually loaded this up somewhere else here. Rolls-Royce, largest shareholder, Causeway Capital Management, has called on the next chairman of the British aircraft engine maker to refresh its board of directors when the group emerges from one of the worst recessions in the industry. So this guy, who's a portfolio manager for a group that's based in California that owns 9% of Rolls-Royce, said, Anita Florin October, we will take over the chair of the FTSE 100 group and consider whether the top management has the appropriate expertise. So it's a little bit kind of arrogant in a sense, that sentence, but I feel like that's cool. It's like the language that they're using. It's like the determined language that you use and that you would expect from people who really want to make a difference with a company. So I suppose in a sense it's good they're there for a shake-up. I really believe the board needs fresh thinking. The company faces some challenges, Eng told the Financial Times. I wonder if he speaks English, and if I wonder if they do. Rolls-Royce's existing board said, it doesn't matter what it is, he said. Rolls-Royce's existing board said, it doesn't matter what it is, he said, but now was the right time to consider its composition. He declined to comment on the individual. Right. Anyway, so the idea essentially here is that there's this idea of a decarbonizing economy. We're looking at that you wanted to the aerospace and defense companies and to fix the balance sheet issues. It's common stuff anyway. So we're looking at all that sort of stuff and the decarbonization challenge, you said, as well. So there's stuff that's happening there. Basically, all I'm really getting from this is that there's interest in trying to bring sort of forward-thinking dynamism to what's going on over there. I suppose if we've got some time left, when we come back around the top of the hour again, we can talk about uncleared margin rules and the implications that may as well have for Rolls-Royce, as highlighted to me by the likes of FU Money in the Discord, who pointed out to me, of course, that this has got implications for OTC. So we can come back around and talk about this, and I suppose we can consider as well when, and this is coming up in a day or two, and we consider as well what that implications would be for Mr. Eng over there. Back over to the charts now. Thanks so much. Join us. Come back from the toilet. Come back from the toilet. I'm looking over towards where my bathroom is, by the way. Come back. We're back now. Stop boiling the kettle. Drink your tea. We're going to look at charts, right? Get serious for a second here. GameStop, right? And we'll do this the way that I kind of perhaps should have done the previous ones actually as well. If I'm kind of, wow, what are you doing drawing on the screen, Rocky? Wow, that's so weird. You never do that. So what we were going to do, by the way, the technical analysis we did on this thing, whew, it was good. Oh, it was good, wasn't it? It was good. I'm pretty sure it was good anyway. We'll come back and we'll check on that and see if it actually was good soonly. But we can see that we're in around about $200, right? Good stuff, excellent. But what did I want to show people people, I actually wanted to take a look at this thing. This is the weekly time frame. That's right, the weekly time frame. And this puts things into a bit of context for us, I think, which is perhaps missing. We've just had a close of a week. I'll just hide all the drawings so you can see this a bit clearer. Okie dokie. So the weekly time frame. Now, we were in a period for a long time, right up until July, where we're obviously miles above that Ichimoku cloud on the weekly basis. You know, miles above it. And then it flipped to being above us recently. And the Ichimoku cloud is in at about $243. So one of the things that Jamie talks about, give you a bit of perspective here as well, of course, about how things radically change when you're above $250. That, I think, is very self-evident right here with the Ichimoku cloud. The little bits of the cloud itself extend up to 250, kind of the most important facet of it here, really just showing you that it's a sideways tabletop of a cloud up above us. So there's that, but then as well, the candle here really engulfed all of the previous price action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's right, 7. It almost undid 7 weeks of price action here in the space of 1 week. That, of course, was from the lows to the highs that we put in, a 50% rise up in prices, 143 up to 222. So significant, marvelous stuff to be having happened here. How long have I got? I've got 10 minutes till market opens, so that's pretty good. So yeah, so we've done, you know, significant stuff here. Let me just kind of measure this here from the highs that we had recently down to the lows and see that, of course, we've come up towards in fact, it's so very difficult for you all to see at home, and I've got a tip coming in here from Drew Sol, very much appreciated. But you can see that we're above the 382 currently. We're above the 382 now. We haven't gone as high as the 50% or the 618. We haven't extended beyond that up towards the 886 and failed to take that out. But we have done this movement overall here, and this is an interesting one, and it's super positive, right? So I just thought that would help put things a little bit in context for us. Seen a bit more volume, of course, than we've seen for quite some time, and this low, which ultimately came in as being a higher low, is got hidden bullish divergence on it. So when we were talking last month about the, in July, about the movements that we could be hoping to see, just kind of maybe in it around about that time that I got sick and whatnot, then, and it didn't happen right away, etc. We're also mentioning about the weekly lows and how we haven't actually taken them out in terms of the closures. And that's extremely important to point out. It's extremely important. And then, of course, this means hidden bullish divergence. That's a confirmed local low, hidden bullish divergence on there. Right, so that's where we have our favorite US stock currently on the go here with us now. We've got a bit of consolidation on the go. You can see a degree of boilings off of these oscillators. RSI kind of dipping down a wee bit, having been in the bullish control zone. The DMI pulling back from that classic area of around about 40, where we see things turn around on the DMI so often. A little bit, way bit higher than that. And then the stochastics as well kind of turn around just a little bit here. Again, it's nice oscillations on the go as well. Doing pretty good, but just having a little bit of a boiling off in this period here. Well, that's okay. We talk about this all the time. This is like consolidating at an area of resistance. It's also consolidating at an area of support. So the range on this consolidation is slightly different to the range that you're going to see on other charts at certain times when you're in a period of consolidation where you're saying we've moved really far away from our support and we're at resistance and we're consolidating just there. In fact, the range on this one consolidates between the support and the resistance. So it could kind of go in a sense either way. I'm of course looking for this thing to operate in a sense like a bull flag. 24-hour time frame not showing us anything like that though, but the 1 hour time frame may be giving us some sort of hints that we've got that type of thing on the go here. It is quite sideways. It could be considered a number of different ways. Now, one of the ways that this thing could be considered, absolutely, is in terms of whether or not this is forming up a diamond top here overall. If it is doing that, then we're ripe for breakout. Looking at that area 2.8, then I'm looking up towards 226 again thereafter, but even potentially further than that. So we want to be talking about how things could go this week, then taking us up towards the edge of that diamond just there, and then popping that measurably, dastardly move up towards the top side. Then we're getting $262. Now at this point here, I think I'd maybe chuck in just a little little talk about how this, of course, is essentially the classic AB equals CD thing, and that's something that we'll be talking about in the education series this week that Jamie and I are putting on with regards to technical education for people. So be sure to be a member of the Discord if you want to take part in that and join us for it tonight. I'm assuming that we'll be able to do it tonight. I'm not 100% sure. This is kind of a casual thing. It's not but we'll be doing it kind of throughout the week, etc. It's a casual thing though, so I'm just kind of trying to make plans here, talking about them like they're definitely going to happen. When I don't know, but anyway, the point I'm trying to actually make here is that what that thing there really is that you've got a movement from A to B, all right, and then you've got a movement down here, which takes us to C, and then you've got a movement to D. And the movement between A and B is supposed to be, of course, then equal, commensurate to the movement between C and D. Hence, AB equals CD, and that's the general underpinnings now. So a lot of people out there in the world will think that this is a new concept of A, B, C, D thing. Is a new concept, but when it isn't, it ties perfectly together with facets out there in the world, such as, of course, the diamond continuation pattern, or indeed the half staff or the bull flag, indeed so often as a case of taking out the measurement of the range of an ascending triangle towards the top side, or a equilateral triangle, etc. So these things all tie back together. It's one of the things I always talk about. Anyway, that brings us to where we are, and I think that that's a fairly decent expression of the current price action for us. Taking out the lows then, of course, undoes this scenario for us. So just kind of looking down the way and saying, let's just call it that taking out the 195 area undoes this scenario. We'll have to revisit it again. If we get a bounce, if we go down to 195 and get a bounce at that point, we'll discuss this in terms of it being a wedge, a bull flag. And if you want to be all sort of Elliot wave about it, then you could say that this is 1, 2, 3, and there's your corrective wave completed. So you could say that, and you could talk about all sorts of bollocks. Anyway, basically this week I'm looking for that, and that's what we're talking about. Cool. Got 5 minutes left before markets open. No time to take a look at cryptocurrency, evidently, as we make our way back around to AMC before markets open. Perfect for me though, because it means that I can look at it while markets are actually open, and that's pretty good because we've already kind of done the TA, and we're just looking to see how the opening range operates for these things. So taking a look at the cryptocurrencies while the markets are open is absolutely no skin off my nose, and I actually know it's no skin off of your nose, so I'll go ahead and do that anyway. Of course, if you feel like you're missing out on minute candles, etc., then don't worry, because I'm going to have a section like that during the show when the markets have actually opened up. No point bringing on the minute candles here and seeing them dance around because, of course, they're closed. I mean, I could do it with regards to looking at pre-market prices, but I'm not an idiot, so I'll not bother with that. So between these lows to these highs, if you want to be looking at getting a valid Fibonacci, we need to be above 41.33. The prices at the minute look like they're going to gap up towards that zone, almost certainly then going to come back in and fill in this gap. The current price action looks like today wants to start off by testing the red liquidity box zone up above us and then coming back down to fill in the gap. That's going to be your start of your technical analysis for the day, so you've got it here first anyway, so that's all covered and taken care of. That's quite handy. It gives me that time to do that cryptocurrency that we're talking about. But this is looking decent, all right. Okay, so this, if we can continue this to go on, then that's pretty good. If we actually only take out the 382 though, only go up as high as the 382, then that does kind of suck, right? It sucks. So $42 would only, in terms of this week, really, essentially, etc., would suck in terms of closing prices. In terms of this movement just now, I would like to see it go a bit higher, but we could certainly do that, and we could come back down and test the 236 again, as well, and so on and so forth. So I'd look out for all of this type of thing happening. If we do get a run of momentum at the start of the day, and that's possible, and we don't actually fill in that gap right away, so if we don't see a negative movement immediately, essentially in the first 15 minutes or so, then I'd be looking to come up towards that 42.50 area before perhaps come back down to 41.30, etc. I mean, it gets to the point though where it's almost like, what's the point in doing the technical analysis like that? I mean, I'm just helping some people make some money. What's the point in that? Really, actually, screw all that. Sorry, just kind of had an epiphany as I was doing that there. I don't need to focus on that so much. Instead, let's just look at this here and say, great. Pulled back to the 382. Oh, great. If we actually fail to take out our high at this point, just here, right? Say in fact, right? No, tell you what, I'll do this analysis this way. I'll say if we go to this zone just in here, if we go to this zone just in here at some point in the next 2 days, then I'm looking for us to. In fact, I'll just mark this in here as well so I can know where that is. Then I'm looking for us to come back down to and I'm just going to just kind of speculate slightly, just real quick on this one. Excuse me as I do it. Where would that be at around about? It's in around about here, $35. Right, sound. So I'd be aiming down to $35. So what could we see is we could see that happen. So what do we see if we don't take out so if we go up to 46, if we go to 46, 46, 46, that's can't read that. 4646. Right, if we go to 4646 and then turn around, then we'd be going to 35, right? That's just something for people. Just so that's more interesting, I feel, in terms of discussing about this thing over where this thing could be going over the next wee while, as opposed to pissing about talking about stuff like what's going to happen in the next couple of hours, right? So how about that? That's a lot more exciting as a proposition. Now, I'm not saying that I'm predicting the future. I've not got some crystal ball here. I'm not doing that, right? That's not what's happening. Instead, I'm just talking about what the implications would be potentially if we fail to take out this area, if we fail to actually take it out, which is equivalent of saying if we fail to put in a higher high as well. If we actually do go up here and close up here, decent closures, etc., on this sort of time frame, then okay, that's cool. We're doing all right. Right, sweet. So 29 minutes, 37 seconds. Excellent stuff. Let's bring up a dual screen chart here. What was the other guy? The other one that's the guy wanted to do? SOFI. We'll take a look at SOFI soon. Here's a dual screen chart. Got a lot of rubbish on here that I don't necessarily need. So yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't do that cup with handle, which is that caterpillar pattern. That's okay. That's okay. In fact, I'll just ditch the drawings in the bin. That's okay. So it is. Right, cool, excellent. Do I want any of these drawings on here? I suppose I do want the drawings on because I got my wee notes. Hide the drawings. And we're off to the races. So it looks like we're pushing a little bit up here on AMC, just in the opening seconds. Will we hit off of our red liquidity zone and then drop bomb back down? Let's take a look at AHT and MMAT as suggested by Mamajama, and we'll also take a look at that SOFI thing. SOFI, of course, as well as we know, the Greek god of wisdom. That's right. But don't look out. But look out though. If people are talking sophistry, then you want to be very careful about that. There's a lot of sophistry in the world of technical shmanala shmish out there for us. Where did that red box go to? Was that on a different chart where I had the red box or something, or was it what was that had the red box? Anyway, whatever. Bam, bam, badam, 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 bam. Mind checking out Rycey, September 1st, UMC rule changes will cause an uptick in margin calls per DTCC. Absolutamente. I do wonder what happened to my red box over there. I don't know what happened to my red box over there. Wonder what could have gone on with my drawings. And will we fill in this gap and then move? Will we do that like I said we would? And then let's go and check out the SOFI, SOFI, the Greek god of wisdom. It is down at the lower end of a pitchfork. Looks like it must have done all the things we said it would. I always do say that about myself, but it is so frickin' awesomely true. We have come down to the lower end of this pitchfork. Righty, oh, where are we going to go? Oh, balls, what is all this crap here? Did I say it would consolidate around about this area? That sucks. Why would I kind of give that impression to people? Must have been trying to support somebody's feelings of positivity at the time when I was saying that. Anyhow, we came down to this area looking for a bounce on this thing. Doom, doom, of course I am. Why am I looking for a bounce on this thing? Because that pitchfork's probably drawn incorrectly because it was drawn in by me. The thing about this thing is, as well, it's also very, very new. So if it doesn't work, even though I drew that in, then I will, of course, blame that on the fact that it's very new. Because I'm cool like that. Magnet tool, let me just kind of get this bang on, right? So that's bang on, I think, there. And let me just get this bang on here. That's bang on there. Right, cool. So we're just ever slightly at this edge. If we can push up today, then it's cool. I'm looking up for higher targets. Where's that gap? That gap got filled in or something. Why was I talking about that? Can see that this also highlights where this other gap is on the charts. We'll be able to push up above that, I wonder. Interesting stuff. I wonder when I looked at this last, when it was. I wonder when I looked at it last. I can see high, low, lower high. This was going to possibly be a lower low. That must have been what I was saying at the time. That's why those circles will be there. That's why those circles will be there. And as well, I was also probably talking about this sort of thing at the time because it's got that big thing on it. Yeah, I probably was. And we're still doing it. Anyway, this here evidently is coming for a lower low. So we're not consolidating within a period of in a big triangle like I must have been suggesting. That's what this will have been as well when I had this thing on the go. And I was like that. I was kind of suggesting that if we'd found a low at this area and hadn't put in a lower low, then we'd continue to trend towards the top. We could consolidate within that range. But obviously, we've continued on down thereafter, taking in a Fibonacci from that high, actually all the way down to the most recent low. Where's the 236 at? Right in the middle of that gap. Cool. Okay, good to know. 618, roughly $20. Okie dokie. From the most recent of highs down to these lows. That's right at the edge of that gap. Interesting stuff. 618, $20, of course. Cool. Have we got divergences down here as well on this? Oh yeah, huge. Oh yeah, cool. Great, excellent. SOFI looking pretty decent. If we wanted to get a bounce, I would have said that this is what we would have been expecting before the show kicked off today. But here we are at the Ichimoku cloud. This would obviously represent the resistance up above the current price action right now on the 1 hour. But what does it look like on the 4 hour? Is it still close? No. It is, of course, quite far, far away from where we are. Where is my baseline and my conversion line? Oh, yeah. Where is my baseline conversion? Where is my baseline and conversion? Oh, there we have the lines back on. I don't want the lagging span. I can put the lead one on the charts, though, so we can see the edge of the cloud. There is this thing, and that is at 14.57. And on the 1 hour, that's where the cloud is at 14.57, 14.57. Right, sound. Okay, cool. So if we can take that out, then looking pretty good. We have obviously got negative price action as been in terms of the last day. Yes, we've pushed up since the 18th of August when we came down to these lows, but we're struggling currently to actually to actually get this into an upward trend. But by struggle, I don't mean fail. I mean, we are struggling. You've got a high, a higher low. Okay, there's your low. There's your higher low. There's your higher high. Here so far, your higher low. We've come in here, question mark in terms of whether or not we've got a gap that remains unfilled on the charts right here, right now. And we're at the cloud. We could fill that in. I suspect, in a sense, that we could easily fill that in. It could remain on the charts as sort of like a little symbolic breakaway from where we are just now. Was the DMI at? Where you at? We've just had a positive cross, really strong. I'm bullish on this thing, I'm bullish on this thing, which is in the face of like massive downward price action. What do I mean by that? Well, that's obviously kind of counter trend in a sense, but that's okay. That's all right, but that's okay. I'd be thinking to myself, you know what? Actually, in a sense, let me just kind of draw this in here in this sense. Where is that coming in at? About $20 as well. Yeah, definitely targeting $20 on this one. Targeting $20 on this one. It's $14.23 at the minute. Be managing risk in there around about $13 bucks. Bitches. Right, sound. So we're at 37 minutes past. Let's see how fuckface and dickface have been getting on so far. Over here with GME, we're still inside this diamond style pattern. We have indeed done the fill of the gap as we suggested would occur if there was to be one, and we're operating in this area. Obviously, the downward sloping line that's in here might not be so visible to all of you, but this downward sloping line that's in here is the current sort of resistance area for us. So can we push above that? Well, I dare say we can. It's the question of will we? No divergence on the RSI at that point. The stochastics having a divergence for us is interesting because I would describe this as being more of an oscillating market. So when I talk about markets as being oscillating markets, obviously all markets oscillate, whether that's towards the top side or the downside. But when it's kind of trading slightly sideways and with a range on the go, then I will kind of looking during this scenario towards the stochastics. One of the reasons for which being, of course, that these peaks and troughs are going to be defined by the looking back over the period of the last however long and choosing not the relationship between this candle and this candle, but the relationship of the low of this candle versus the lowest low that we've had here and the highest low minus each other, to have a distinction between how each new incremental addition onto the range compares to the range that we've had in the past. And that's essentially the basic formation of what the stochastics line is showing us. And given that we're not taking out the significant lows, as we know, because we have, of course, got the diamond on the go that we're talking about, then, of course, then that pins back round again. And, of course, then I'm looking at stochastics as being surprised to see that there's a heavy bullish divergence on the, if you're looking at this little section, on the MACD histogram as well. But, you know, we continue to find the resistance here. Sure, so long as we stay above $200, then I'm looking to continue to go. I'm looking to continue up the way, oscillating around inside whatever type of resistance area that you want to put on in terms of the diamond thing is totally fine. So look, there you go. There's accurate TA for you there. So, you know, it's funny, isn't it? I'm a professional background dude. I'll show you your diamond. There's your lines. That's how accurate you really need to be when you're doing TA. It's funny that, isn't it? However, you'll also find people out there in the world who are massively anal about things. That's not me. I'm not anal about things. Hence, like I say, you know, I do need to tidy up in here and everything too. So, yeah, anyway, there we have it. That's what I'm looking to. Can we see it happen at some point? Well, we're going to have to kick on here because it's not happened yet. Nothing really has happened. Oh, we didn't fill in the gap quite, but we did have a little bit of downward movement. Interesting stuff. I wonder where that red box went to. Did I delete it by accident? Is that what happened, or is it just not visible in certain time frames? If I go up to the 24-hour time frame, does it become visible again? Was it a different chart? I mean, what's going on here? I'm totally confused by that. Anyway, whatever. 24-hour time frame, you see there's evidently no gap on there. Looking down the way, that's 12-hour, 4 hours, 12-hour and 24 is the same. 4-hour time frame, of course, there is the gap there for us. So, yep, it is as evidenced by that wick of that previous 4-hour candle. Still looking down here again with the potential to come down towards that $40 price point. We're at $41.40 at the minute. The exuberance of starting the day off at $42.32. I mean, I wonder, were you watching anybody else? Would you watch two people at once? I highly doubt it. Nobody really watches more people. When they watch me, they kind of stay watching me. But anyway, I imagine that the exuberance, the pre-market exuberance, would have taken the likes of other people in the world into for a little bit of the old Surprisio. A little Surprisio. Cool, nice one. KT saying Rycey is not trading due to your bank holiday? Question mark. Oh right, oh aye. UK bank holidays. UK bank holidays. UK bank holiday. What's the date today? More. Summer bank holiday, Monday the 30th of August. That's right, Monday the 30th of August. Whenever you work in one of these places, what you do is you get a calendar, you put it up on your wall, you mark off all the bank holidays, you look forward to them, you tick off every day in between, you buy your gun, you wait for, you keep ticking off the days, you go into work with your gun. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely kidding, by the way, because I'm in the UK and guns are legal, and that was obviously satire. And I was making jokes, and it was obviously satire. There's a world out there which is obviously sensitive to that type of comment, and I would like to extend any disclaimers their direction. That was obviously satire. So yeah, cool. Okay, right. A little bit confused, right? A little bit confused. A little bit of the old indecision on this 4-hour candle starting off the day. A little bit of the old indecision. A little bit of the old indecision on the 15-minute candle starting off the day today so far. Obviously, it's the same candle in effect. And what we're seeing is that we're putting in a little bit of the old doji. A little bit of the old doji, eh? A little bit of the old doji. Well, what risk reward is there to be traded in this region? The region, this here is, of course, it's what risk reward is there. Depending on what sort of fees you pay, you'd have to be trading it with an enormous scale there to be able to, of course, buy into your position, sell out your position, cover your tax because you're an American trader, so you pay tax on every trade. Oh my God, how shite is that? And then, as opposed to the UK law where it's just netted, and then you also have your commission that you have to pay, right? So can you really afford to trade within that range? Not necessarily. Although there would be something to be had there. You'd probably be thinking to yourself, well, I mean, the volume that goes through in these moments during this 50-minute candle is then probably either people who are just like choosing positions really quickly, and that was based on FOMO. So FOMO combined with high frequency traders in this particular zone right here, right now. Let's jump on over. Did I look at SOFI there, or did I forget? Oh, aye, the Greek goddess of wisdom. Oh, aye, check it out. It went up and then back down again. Oh, where did it come to? Oh, it's down here at $14 already, is it? Oh, that's weird. I mean, I'm super positive on this thing. Like I was saying, it's filled in that gap though. So that's also what I thought would probably happen. It would have been nice had it been a runaway gap, but it wasn't going to happen. The cloud up here offering us that resistance. That's cool. We're totally fucking kicking heads in left, right, and center here. As we approach 43 minutes after the hour, let me just see in here. We're going to bring up the Rycey charts. Rycey, Rycey, how'd you spell your name? And you're not trading today because it's a bank holiday. And where did you finish last time? Oh, you finished over here at 157. Pre-market's open. Hold on a second. Is it just it's trading OTC? Wait, what? Open pre-market's open. Is just going to trade pre-market all day today? I don't know. Is this actually? Am I confused about this? Or is that just the pre-market closing price, post-market price? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, OTC trading this thing. Anyway, RR is what you'd want to be looking to anyway when you want to chart this thing. Because look at that chart. Wow, it transformed into an actual chart. That's pretty cool. So when somebody says to take a look at Rycey, for me, I tend to think, okay, well, let's take a look at Rolls Royce, the original and the best and all. What? So yeah, failure to take out our highs just there, putting in what could obviously be a wedge. Expect to see divergence. There's the divergence right there. Why would I expect to see divergence? Because this looks like a wedge. What are you going to see on the MACD when you see divergence up above, wedge up above? You're going to see divergence. What are we seeing down here? Drop down the volume while the prices are moving less in a range. So what are you going to expect to see over here? You're going to expect to see divergence. That's the accumulation distribution. How's this calculated? Well, it's calculated by the range of those candles, and then as well times by the volume. So each one of these is going to be lower numbers than that, which means that of course you're going to have less downward pushing on this one, which means that you're obviously therefore going to have divergence, right? So that's all obvious. You don't need any of those oscillators down below, really. In truth, I so often don't really need them to be able to tell what's going on in terms of the strength and momentum in the markets. Now, so it's quite good to know in terms of like key levels, etc., where we are, where we're not actually above this structural component just here. Now, if we were to be, what would that be? Well, we've discovered this, talked about this enough times on the channel now to know quite fully that this, of course, would be the representation of the swing failure point. That's right, the swing failure point. Now, just like these the words in trading, it's often quite confusing. This doesn't signify some sort of failure for us if we're long on this, wanting it to happen. No, it's a swing failure in terms of like just the swings that you've got here, and then something got failed, it got broken, etc. It's more like saying you've got a divergent break. So if we want to talk about that, so you get a divergent break of RSI horizontals, right? So a divergent, when you've got divergent and you break the horizontal of the interim period, then you get this thing which is known as a swing failure, and that would obviously be in this case very, very bullish, and that would be taking out key areas 117, 118, etc. That could be cool. Brings us back to the broader term thing. This is obviously tight TA for tomorrow in a sense, though. Brings us back to the broader sense thing. How did we get on here, etc. with these movements? Well, there's our Fibonacci from that low up to what was formerly then this high, coming up towards our most recent high. The 236 is in there at 110 bucks. Perfect. Good time to be bullish on this thing. Absolutely is a good time to be bullish on this thing. In terms of just like this downward movement, I often talk about V shapes and where you go, but V shapes are just a condensed version of this same thing. So this is a 15-minute time frame, and what you can see here is that we've clearly rebounded back up here as a result of this most recent high past the consolidation point of our previous thing. So we were consolidating there, and we had this nice ascending triangle, I suppose, in a sense, and you could take a measured move off the back of that. This arrow doesn't even fully represent the measured move, so it's not going to work, but you get the impression, you know, that this was the type of this was that this gave us a movement up the way. In fact, then it put us into that zone. That zone, by the way, let's just jump up towards the big term time frames, 2-day time frame here, for instance, and show you that zone is, of course, the party zone that you want to be in, right? It's the party zone. It's like the neckline zone of this head and shoulders. So that's perfect. Oh, Eng calling for that new board of directors. Can hardly believe that these guys only do fundamental analysis. Isn't it almost ridiculous? It is, isn't it? Because that would be I think the most accurate word to use. That would just be stupid, wouldn't it? Anyway, there we have it. Right, cool. 48 minutes after the hour, coming up, flying up towards 3. That's pretty cool. Plenty books on biscuits. Nice to see people having biscuits this morning in the Discord. Biscuits in America is basically what a scone in this country is. We've got scones. Scones is the English word for scone in Scotland, which is scone, where there's a palace, by the way. Scone Palace is how you pronounce that. That's written S-C-O-N-E, by the way, though. Anyhow, biscuits in America, they're not biscuits. What do you call biscuits? Cookies. Just cookies, right? But cookies here are like nicer biscuits that are softer. Biscuits here are different. Anyway, biscuits is derived from the French word biscuit, which means fucking stuff that people who care about would want to know the end of that sentence to. Right, cool. Why would anybody put anything on biscuits? You could put Nutella on top of a Ritz cheese biscuit. Nice, right? Salted cracker thing. Rocky Outcrop, when you get to crypto, do you think you can do a little explainer on staking? Yeah, cool. All right, cool. In fact, let's get to crypto. 10 to the hour, little explainer on staking. Okie dokie. Little explainer on staking at 10 to the hour. 10 to the hour. To the airport. To the airport. Do you remember that? Remember that advert? Anybody? To the airport. To the airport. Where's the record button on this bollocks thing? Here we go. Start recording. Wrong camera. No, correct camera. Shit. Stop recording. Start recording. Hi friends, how you doing? Crypto technical analysis coming right at your pie holes. My name's Rocky Outcrop. Hope you're doing well. This is the best channel for crypto technical analysis on YouTube, and that's why we do it all the time. There's the Rolls Royce chart. We also look at other stuff here. This is the Bitcoin USDT chart that I'm bringing up right now. You can see the current prices of this thing in at 47k, 47,700, being consolidating in and around about this zone over the weekend. Yes, the drawings here are a little bit hard to see, everything being a big old mess in here, but this is the range that we've got. Staying above that Ichimoku cloud is going to be good. I'll get rid of the drawing so you can see it a bit clearer. Staying above this Ichimoku cloud is going to be good for us, right? 46,800, decent stuff. Pushing down the way, I'm going to expect the best buy price, the next best buy price, to be coming in at 40k, or perhaps, if we need to push down a little bit down towards the 33,000. Wow, I know, right? 47 to 33. What a ridiculous range that is. That's because we've got the 2-day Ichimoku cloud open there behind us. If I jump down towards the 1-day, you can see actually there's very effing little support here at all, and you would be looking down towards that 40k region where you find that cloud again coming back in again, begin again, again. And here we have the 4-hour time frame showing us that we've actually already started to dive into that cloud. Taking this thing out would be bad. $47,000 seems to be coming up again and again and again in terms of being a support for us. High. What's going on over here? High. No, that's not as high. Oh, wait a minute. What would this latest high? That's not as high. Interesting that there would be higher highs on price action. Higher highs on price action. Whoops, wrong button. Higher highs on price action over here. Right. And weirdly enough, for some reason, I don't get it, but for some reason there's downs on the RSI. Anyway, that's not what you would expect to see on that one, is it? Weird. What's that all about? Let me know in the comments down below what that's all about. I'd love to know. I've never had a name for that before. It'd be cool if there was a name for, to explain that sort of that divergence between those two different angles there. So let me know if you know what the name for that is in the comments down below this thing. Thanks. Ethereum, yeah, kicking about in the same sort of regions, right? So same chat that we've had before. This consolidation continues in the meantime. If we do actually want to push up or down, then we're going to have to wait for that break, if you like. The actual return of volume. Let me just point out then, I suppose, for just now, that what we're looking at is this diminishing volume throughout this thing. And what we need to see, of course, is a big volume candle. Okay, let's look for the direction the price moves whenever that happens. Let's jump on over to Chainlink here. Chainlink USDT. And at this point, by the way, I'll just give you a quick reminder that I'm actually going to talk about staking for a couple of minutes at the end of this little bit of TA. So we're flying through the TA like here, no problem. Current prices on Chainlink in there sub $25, right? $25. What does that mean, Rocky? Well, $25 is actually a pivot point for us right here, right now. But thankfully, you can see actually as well, wow, that lines up perfectly with where we left this off. Considering I haven't looked at this chart now for 3 days, that's quite nice to see. That, of course, this is finding where our support is right in here, right now. Now, can we actually push on up the way? Let's see if we've got any more of that weird lack of correlation between these 2 points just here. And anyway, no, it doesn't seem so. We have got this other thing on the go over here, though, where we have a flash in the background of the DMI. This is called the Rocky Outcrop Flash. It's called the Rocky Outcrop Flash, that thing. That happens on the 24th of August at 4 p.m. that it ended. And bring up the price action on the 24th of August at 4 p.m. here. Oh, I can see that that's already been fulfilled. Damn. Well, that would have been nice if that was the case. Anyway, we know that this is a big inflection point. The market's up above as well, 2660. I realistically think that if we can actually open up above and close up above 2660, or we have a couple of confluencing factors, this Fibonacci level here and the Ichimoku cloud itself, then we're flying, then we're pod racing, then we're looking back up towards higher targets. First off, $31, but actually that's not even true. That's not even true though, actually. See, because if we take out the 31 to 33 range, we're taking out the area that we bounced back up to after the drop down. 33 being very important as well on the way up. Whenever we were finding a lot of resistance in here, a lot of profit taking, big struggles in the prices, we actually saw them dropping all the way back down. Losing a 30% of their price value in that time when we were on the way up here. So, struggles in this zone, take that out, boom, then we're on the way up looking towards 45. $45 would be where I'd be looking to, $40 to $45 at least then. So, good times could be had on this one. But what it starts off is like, can we put in, can we not take out 24? If we take out 24, then I'm actually looking all the way down to $20. There could obviously be a bounce at 22, and I'd anticipate that, and I'd be looking to see if I could carry that momentum past any sort of pivot points. The thing about it is, if we go down to 24, it's worth mentioning, and I'm dragging time on a bit longer, but if we go down to 24, then we'd have a wedge on the go like this, so like just look out for that, right? Ethereum, no, not that guy. XTZ, you know what, actually screw it, Tezos people, if you want me to take a look at Tezos, let's just look at Tezos real quick, so for my own benefit, because this is good. So XTZ, UTZ over here, USD. Oh, wow. $6. Fantastic. Great. Good on us. Well, we've done this. We've done a 300% rise in the value of this thing since June, if you've been watching along with the channel. That's right. 300% rise in the value of this thing since June, if you've been watching along with the channel. Perfectly described for you. perfectly described for you. In fact, look even at this bit here where we talked about that, and whoa, perfectly described all the way along. Wow, fantastic. Now we even did that. I think I was aiming towards 580 where that red line is, pushed all the way up towards $6. Nice round number. Pulled back down to this point here. I'm a little bit concerned about this thing in terms of whether or not it needs to come back to the cloud at this stage. Best buy price on this one, 489. 489 best buy price on this one. Next targets, if we're going to go for them. By the way, of course, there's going to be some divergence in here. I mean, look at this divergence, right? There's going to be DMI showing us the divergence so clearly. As we come back down, looking for this thing to drop back down, the ADX to drop back down below 40, take out the 40 line, for us to come in here and come in, and for us to again get Rick and Morty lips at this point here, and then continue on up the way, having gone into 480 from having been in at $6. So let's just see if we can continue that on up the way later, and then of course we'll be looking towards 660 or so, I think, thereafter. Let me just check on this one. Let's just see if that actually ends up being the case. In about 660, actually it's probably more, it is actually closer to $7. What have we got in here? 630 to 640. Oh, what was this as well, this liquidity zone? How well did that work? Not quite well enough, but I can leave that on there. So yeah, cool, excellent, nice one. That's that one. What did I look at? Dot. How far am I into this recording? Let me just check here real quick. There's plenty of time left, of course, on this one. Let's see, 7 minutes into this one. Okay, cool. So we'll just do a couple of minutes here. Look at Polkadot versus Binance, on Binance versus USDT, and then we will, what are we doing? $24. Got a similar setup to Chainlink here. Yeah, similar setup to Chainlink in terms of these lows. Looking at the lows, looking at the oscillators down below. How are we doing here? Has this got hidden bullish divergence? Not quite. So close with that distribution. Hidden bullish divergence on the while we're putting in a higher low over here on the accumulation distribution would be very interesting to see right now. It's very close to having that. In fact, maybe we could shoot on up from this area. I'm looking for this to actually be a nice turnaround, but I'm only going to be taking profits again at about 10% up from where we are. We actually need to take out the 28, 29 area for me to be looking up, but the next target up above is $31. So so that's that. Woof. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Actually, we're so close here. Similar sort of thing as Chainlink. Right. Cool. Similar sort of thing as Chainlink. Right. So just a couple of minutes on staking then before I end the show. So staking. I was asked to talk about staking. What is staking? Staking. You can buy a cryptocurrency, right, and then you can stake it. Staking it essentially locks it up in a contract. A smart contract. What's a smart contract? It's a piece of code, exists on the internet, and it's better and smarter and more wonderful than your mobile banking application in terms of how it thinks about where you're sending money in the background. Because your mobile banking stuff is all determined by like a group of people out there in the world, and they can just change the numbers and things, whereas smart contracts exist independently of that, without the actual sort of trust element between the two counterparties in any situation. So what you're actually able to do as well is you're able to stake it. Now, if you stake things, it means that you're committing network resources. So, for instance, you might have a coin which likes to talk about itself like it is. It gives you networking resources in exchange for staking it, that you can then use yourself for launching and running dApps, which are decentralized applications. So those apps that you've got on your phone that work through the internet, etc., as normal, you can also get decentralized applications that work on phones, computers, etc. And instead of having a single server out there in the world that contains all the data, it's decentralized across the different people and doesn't work through the internet as such. It works through the blockchain, which is kind of cool and interesting because, of course, that is immutable. Now, I'm slightly aware of the fact this is actually almost becoming too esoteric too quickly. Scrap that, right? You've got banks. You can put money into your bank, right? And if you put money into your bank, it means that you've committed your network resources of money in terms of like, okay, I'm not going to spend it all on ice creams and Coca-Cola this weekend. I'm going to leave it in the bank over the next couple of weeks. And that gives the bank the security of knowing that not everybody's going to just to cancel them as a customer, and it gives them security as well in that sense. And similarly, you can do the same thing. So say you own a whole bunch of some coin, you could stake it. Now that staking it maybe commits network resources and value towards this particular activity that you're doing. And that activity might have an outcome. That activity might be providing price data for some other exchange to some other exchange, etc. That sort of thing. It might be doing that, and it's these network resources that you're actually locking up to dedicate towards doing those tasks. And as a result of doing that, you get given money back. Now there's other types of things that you can do which are similar to staking but aren't actually staking, such as you can get rewards for providing liquidity on decentralized exchanges. What's the liquidity providing? What's a decentralized exchange? Oh my God, so complicated. But basically, the premise of DeFi is that as opposed to two parties exchanging with each other, interacting normally through a counterparty, by the way. So if you buy off the NYSE a stock, there's a counterparty in the middle. It's not actually you trading versus me. Likewise, it's the way that most common crypto exchanges work these days. But when they did start, they actually started off with being direct one-to-one counterparty. Now, interestingly, there's this decentralized exchange thing where one person can buy and sell a resource with another person, and it works by, but they don't actually buy it with the other person, the counterparty. Instead of being a single organization like an exchange, which can take money from you and manage it, or like a brokerage that can manage this and get their own margin, their own way, where they make money for providing the service. It's actually provided to people decentralized through liquidity pools. So it's like Kickstarter in a sense that everybody's like, hey, let's chuck our money in together. Then if somebody wants to buy or sell it, there'll be the money there, to be the counterparty against them. Then somebody else can come along and be the counterparty, and we'll be a collective group together as the counterparty that provides liquidity to all these different people. And there'll be a tiny, tiny, tiny little fee for that, and we'll coop that up. And we're providing then security to the basis of the price by providing liquidity. And liquidity, of course, as we know, when there's a lack of liquidity, can lead to abrupt and sudden changes in price and increased volatility. So if you provide that service of giving liquidity, and then of course provide price stability, and of course expectation management and all the rest of it, then you are of course rewarded for doing so. And that's the two main types of staking that people think about now. Staking really originally in that is giving your network resources back to the blockchain itself in order to recoup a fee. And then there's a second type. Now there's a third type that's worth mentioning, which is the constant staking that happens. Now things like Algorand do that, where you don't actually have to do anything on your coins, they're just in your wallet, but they're staked and you're getting given rewards. Now actually, when you're in a situation like that, those things are just simply called inflation rewards, okay? Inflation rewards. And I think it's actually worth mentioning here as well for people who are interested in blockchain. Worth mentioning, but not something that you will even be recognized if you go on to talk about it with somebody else. You can talk to Gary Gensler, the so-called expert, and he himself won't even necessarily know this, is that the blockchain reward inside Bitcoin that you get for mining it and giving out to people, that's given out to people as a result of mining Bitcoin, is actually called a trying to think of the bloody word because I can't remember now. It's that word whenever you pay towards something. It's not, so you are, what's the word for it again? Like all the cows, the farms in England, subsidized. It's a subsidy, right? So it's actually, as opposed to necessarily a payment and a reward, it's actually compensation, right? And that's a distinction that needs to be kind of, not needs to be, but should be kind of understood, because it's not like the gold mine that you've whacked your pickaxe into turns around and says, oh yeah, that was so much hard work, I'm going to compensate you by giving you this. Instead, you're digging for rewards, and that's not actually what's happening in the blockchain network. So in the same sense that whenever these other networks came out that don't use proof of work, so your computer electricity resources aren't going into doing this thing, and you're being rewarded because you spent electricity to mine Bitcoin, you get Bitcoin back, and it's a reward, but it's not. It's actually a subsidy. What you're getting, and that's written into the code by, freaking Sunzuki Nakamura, the guy that invented Bitcoin. Hail, hail. And yeah, the proof of stake, which is opposite to proof of work. So when Bitcoin is this proof of work thing, and then there's the other one's proof of stake, which is a different way of securing the network, is then you're rewarded and subsidized for doing that through staking, where you dedicate your resource towards it. And that's how staking works. And I suppose if you want to kind of think to yourself, well, that's interesting, I understand some of these concepts, I want to understand it a bit more, then you can look into how Ethereum is transitioning from a proof of work blockchain to a proof of stake blockchain. And you can look at other things like Tezos, which is of course a really great liquid proof of stake network. And you can look at other things like EOS and like DigiCat, whatever one's like that guy that set up EOS. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. Set up, because he's the one that kind of came up with proof of stake as a concept and stuff like that. Interesting stuff, good stuff. My phone's ringing. That could mean that I've been cut off. Interesting. I'll go check that. I've made my episode though. Stop recording. Jamie, have I been cut off? You're on loudspeaker? everybody can hear you on the stream. You don't see my notification. No, they're not coming up. I don't know why not, and I can't fix it, and I've been aware of that, and I can't hear them or anything. It sucks. That's great. Thanks, guys. Thanks you. Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, Jimmy. I'm like you. Everybody can hear you. Say hi. Say hi. Cool. That was trade spotting, and this was thingy. So that was cool, wasn't it? That was different. Not everybody knows that stuff. Not everybody knows that stuff, right? It's interesting. Actually, by the way, not only did I explain what proof of stake was there, I used the banking analogies so you could understand from sort of interest payments, and then I also mentioned inflation, how it's an inflation reward. I also mentioned that it's a subsidy. I also mentioned the difference between proof of work and proof of stake. I actually gave quite a good bit of information there off the top of my head, so I feel all right about that overall. Right, cool. So Jimmy told me the names of stuff that people were looking for, but I can't remember what they were. Let's go and check it out. It says no stream activity over there, so I can't see my old thingies. And that up here, so I can't see the old super chats or anything. That sucks, by the way. So, yeah, so cool. Jimmy tried to try what Jimmy did there, by the way, for people who are not aware. Everybody heard, was told me what people had asked for. So I'm not sure. Somebody might have asked for something. I think he said Amber. Throwing in a bit for some MMAT. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome. As well, everybody. Hi, Rocky, MMAT, happy Monday. Shit, everybody wants MMAT. All right, great. Thanks, guys. Yeah, and also, by the way, AHT. We'll come back to AHT in just a sec. I'll bring up the screen. Don't worry, I'm not going to completely forget that I don't have the charts up every single time. Sometimes I remember myself. AHT at the minute at 14.73. That's interesting to see. But anyway, we'll come over and take a look at that again in a second. Just wanted to get a price update. MMAT. Oh, pushed up. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's what's going on here. Oh, golly. Oh, golly. That's very good. Where are we at the minute? MMAT 532. 532. Excellent. Where did we leave off from roughly? Around 440. Excellent. Up above that 236. Excellent. I want to see this as being a runaway gap, right? A breakaway gap is what I want to see. It's what I want to see. Now, there's no point in exclusively focusing on what you want to see. But it's true. It's what I want to see. However, the Ichimoku Cloud gives you, for instance, just here, the slight impression that if we were to see things kind of coming down around these parts over the next wee while, then, you know, we could actually go in and fill in this gap somehow. Just, they would have to just come to here to fill in the gap. And by here, what I mean is to 463, with the current price as being 520. So you'd only need to drop down 10% to kind of get to that. We need to drop down a good chunk more than that. No, I want to see this be a runaway gap, but there is the distinct possibility that that gets filled in. Sure, there is. But we're up above the 236 just now. I'd love to see us going up and challenging the 382, aiming for 640. That would be good. We've been up as high as 582 today and already pulled back down to 526. So we've had a 10% decline since our highs already, which is an interesting opening range to be had. Let's string up the 15-minute time frame so I can see kind of exactly how this has gone in terms of this thing so far today. Big movement up the way, and then this so far. Well, yeah. So there's not that. So there is that kind of that negativity just there. Yeah. Well, you know, an engulfing candle in the 15-minute time frame, I think, will probably, a bearishly engulfing candle in the 15-minute time frame will probably see us coming in to fill in the gap on the 4-hour time frame at least by coming back down to that 456. Don't necessarily have to come all the way down as 417 and fill in that, but I feel like there's a fairly solid chance of that. Happening if we were to see the prices taking us out on a 15-minute time frame. So if we close below 1493 then in the next 5 minutes, then great. I don't know. Let me just check the half an hour time frame. Yeah, so so if we take it, if we go down to 490 in terms of something like this time frame, getting an engulfing candle in here, then sure we can go on down and figure that out. If we actually want to find support in here, then I'm going to use that as a cutoff point. What we want to see is, we so often do see in gaps, is that you've got the prices and they're moving up or whatever, and then there's a gap and the prices come back down here, and then they kick about here and they do whatever, and then they come back down, they test the gap again, they go off, and then at the end of it, this gap is being left on the charts in that zone just there. So that type of idea would be what I'd be wanting to see here if not what we're wanting to see, but just in terms of understanding that this area could operate as support for us at 493 if we need it. This is just ranging within this zone just here. It's obviously very bullish, but oh, it's like just made it up there. MACD, yeah. Okay, look, I want it to be, right, my initial feeling is I want it to be a runaway gap. I want it to be a runaway gap. I want it to be a runaway gap. I feel like it probably won't actually be a runaway gap. That's what I feel like it probably won't. Nevertheless, we could leave the gap on there. I feel like we'll probably come back and test the lower end of that gap. That would be my feeling on this. It's mostly opinion-led. It's a kind of opinion-led. It's opinion-led, that. Rocky, wait a minute. Hold on a second. That's opinion-led. Yeah, let's go down to 5-minute time frame just now. It's opinion-led. This is triangle in here. We don't want to have opinions on the show. Instead, we want to be objective about things. Let's just kind of look here and see. Look, listen. Let's see if we operate within this zone. This is going to take us up maybe till the I've tuned out by then, but right, okay, for the day MMAT people looking at this one, just be aware that if we did actually push outside of the range of this thingy, that we could go in here and take in and come in and fill in our gap, right? Not fill in a gap on the 4-hour time frame, not necessarily the 50-minute gap, but we could come in and fill in that 4-hour gap. We could do that if we see ourselves taking out these lows in there at 509. Now, fake out on this one's going to go down to 493. Take out 493 though, and I'm looking for 450, 460 or 456, whatever, 450, something like that. Right. Of course, if we do push on up the way, then this is great. I will still anticipate in the future, like coming in here and having some sort of test at some point, quite fairly likely. But we could potentially go on up the way. There could even, end up farming in terms of just like the overall thing here. This type of thing could be what ends up forming in the long run. But just now, we're in this consolidation phase, following on from having had that big rise up, with people therefore asking themselves, like, how will we actually proceed from here, having had this happen, and the pre-market pushing us up to 493, and then afterwards continuing on up as high as 570, been tons of trading already today in terms of moving money around and taking money from people, taking money out of people's pockets. So just keep an eye out for that. I'd trade this shape, I think, on this one. In the meantime, just in the here and now, I'd trade this shape. I'm liking seeing this. It's the volume and sense that we've been looking for. Jumping up to the 4-hour time frame on MMAT. You can see here we're getting a couple of decent volume candles here. So that means obviously if I go up towards something like the 24-hour time frame, that you're seeing, like, it's actually started to look like it's going up. The moving average, this yellow line, which is on top of the volume, hard to see. I appreciate. It's sloping up the way. Definitely, we're getting that upward movement and stuff like that. That's all good. That's all good, right? Sweet. Sweet. So let me just actually measure this out here properly then, because we're above that 482. Then yeah. So my broad expectations on this one. Could we go up as high as 1052? Certainly could. See that this is the cloud is so big here. So big here, and we could go right into that cloud. The cloud is so big here. It would be because of the drop down. As it would be because of the drop down. Where's the VPVR? Can't see it. There just isn't anything. Yeah. Still can't look beyond it. Aiming to $10. Aiming to $10. Yep. $8. I'm not going to be an idiot. I would, if I was trading this, I would take some profit at $8. I'm not going to be an idiot about it. I'd probably also take some dollars at 650. I mean, the movement that you're talking about here is vast, like vast movements to get up the way from anywhere in around about now up to that next target. It's another 25% up. You know, you're not looking at small things as a big deal. Congratulations, Bad Mama Jamma's got some options on this one. They've worked out fairly well so far. Question being at the minute is like whether or not we're going to get that movement up in the heres and nows, etc. This looks decent. We could easily actually even come in and put in a higher low at some point. In a higher low would be taking out that, not only taking out that gap, but coming all the way back down to $4, 370, 380. That's totally possible. But I'm now looking towards the 618 unless we actually close today. Unless we close today below 480, then I'm looking for that. Well, I mean, unless we close tomorrow below 480, unless we close tomorrow below 480, then I'm going to look towards 650, $8 and 10.20 or so for this one. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty good looking chart. Pretty really great looking chart, in fact, really. But you know, as it stands, we're just waiting on the resolution of this thing, which is visible best on a tiny time frame. So waiting on the resolution of this thing. So we could actually do that together for a wee while. I'll just check and see if I've got anything else in the chatter box soon. This thing here in terms of this time frame is this. Let's make it even tighter. Let's make it tighter. Your fader. Make it tighter for the fader. Right, yeah, I'm aware. I've totally cut through the top of that thing. I know I have. I know I have. Right. It's just to make it exciting. So I'm not going to get too excited about this though, unless we're actually above these inflection zones. But I put that in there because it's, you know, because we might see it working here. And yeah, I can catch up with the things. MMAT got requested yet. Ripping. Yeah, it was ripping. Lol, glad it ain't my problem anymore, said what's that all about? Hi Dad, nice to see you. I'd pay 10 grand to be a millionaire. Oh yeah, totally, so would I. Good point, excellent. Thanks, good point, Dad. That jiu-jitsu guy is chatting with people, and that's cool to see. And what else is going on there? Could you check SPRT? Yeah, we could check SPRT. I really hate the way I moved that line. But until those things are above this area, then, you know, whatever. But this is looking good. It's looking good. 1 minute time frame. Right, let's just be positive about where we are just now. Take away that top side because that's bullshit. This is clearly as well. This is one of these things that I'd be talking about. That I could be talking about with Jamie, by the way, in the not too distant future. That's no, sorry, wrong. So you'd be looking to where you'd get this to come in at. Now, if we don't take out the previous highs and lows, so like in there at 547 and in there at 577, then the chances are you'd be coming in for something perhaps like this, where you'd go up towards 569 and then drop down the way. The question being, you know, how far down would you go at that point? And it would be roughly down towards that 480, 490 level. So that's what I'm looking for in this region right now, by the way. But we'll wait and see because this is pretty good. I mean, this is pretty good, but we'll wait and see how that goes. Oh, what was the other thing somebody wanted to take a look at? SPRT. I will go take a look at SPRT and we'll come back and look at this in a second. This is looking good though. I want to see this. Come on, if we can get above 577, then we can push on up and try one of these higher things and come back and figure all this shit out later. While we consolidate inside this range, I need a shave again. While we consolidate inside this range, this is looking pretty good though. While we consolidate inside this range, we're just consolidating. So like, we'll see. Yeah. Not going to go up as high as 569 to come down. Going to go as high as that. Well, I don't know. Come on up a wee bit higher. Come on a wee bit higher here. 569 is what we're looking for. You know, or else we go on up a wee bit. But I'm happy to look between 569 and 577 and say like this is where I'm looking to see if this goes to. I mean, I don't care. We're looking at this in the 1 minute time frame. I don't need to get things down to the penny. I'm just looking at how this is going. It's nice. It's moved up the way. It looks like it could easily have a breakaway gap on this thing. I think that if we do fill in the gap, we could fill in the 4-hour gap and leave the 15-minute gap on there and continue to go up the way, etc. But we didn't get to 569. Come on up, 569. I want 9 more cents on this one before we drop down a bit. If we drop down now, then this is actually better. This is better in terms of where we are. Just want to start trending low, high, and so on, higher, high, and so on. Bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum. Yeah, no probs. If you don't want one, but missing one someone doesn't want would make me feel terrible. Oh, don't know what that sentence means, but it sounds bad. Naked face Rocky making a return. Aye, naked face Rocky will be making a return. Gosh, I'm itchy faced over here. Real itchy face. Real itchy face. Real itchy face. So I mean, this here as a phase of consolidation in any market could be looked at a number of different ways. I mean, you're going to be looking at any time frame and everything else. You'd be looking at the tops and saying, well, if we come in for a double top here, then that would be your classic cup. Does the cup volume work so much? Not really. Not with these highs at this point, and also not really with this kind of up and down part just there. It doesn't really work well for it. But it's a 1 minute time frame. So what are you going to do? So that's okay. If we take out that area, then of course we could go on up the way and express the range of movement between these two zones. If you're looking at this from a pattern analysis point of view, so then you'd be looking up here towards these targets, right? So like that's how you'd be thinking about that. Of course, if we go up towards this zone and then only retrace 50%, then we can do that cup with handle. If we come up towards these zones and actually, fail to take out this area, then we could easily be looking. Then we could easily be looking back to. We could easily be looking back down the way. But at the minute, I'm not really. I'm tried thinking about it from loads of different pattern points of view, just to kind of get a handle of where we could be if things evolve out the way. And it's a case of at any given different time waiting to see how we get on at certain key areas. And if I'm not actually in a trade on this thing, and then and that to be able to see if any of those patterns are actually in existence, right? So it's like, does it exist? Does it exist? Does it exist? And that's kind of, in a sense, pointless. You've got a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high, and that's all you really need to think about. So far, this is this classic ABCD in a sense like that, or just simple wave shit. And really, you're looking to see, will we get a higher low? Will we get a higher low? Bouncing off the 236. No matter what way you draw it in, it's like the 236 right there, for us, in terms of Fibonacci. So again, it's the lowest retrace. Okay, we're going to keep on going. If we keep doing this, it gets extended, etc. Then maybe we drop down at the cup lip. But it's just trading. It's just trading. This is essentially all that's happening here is positive price movement. Then assessing the trend so far, this period here just simply being a consolidation period where we've got a range, where we've got highs, we've got lows, we've got midpoint, we've got the prices oscillating, like that. If they came back down and tested what is now the midpoint of this range here, as its subsequent higher low, etc., then that's all totally just all within the confines of this. This is where we are. There isn't anything to do in technical analysis beyond establish whether or not you've got a trend and then whether or not that trend is going to keep going. And that essentially, the way that by doing it by looking at patterns, etc., by saying, well, if we get to this area here, then there's a potential of X, Y, and Z pattern on the go. Then that's what's going on there. Thanks so much, Tubes, for becoming an early supporter. Really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. Taking out this territory just here, I don't know if a 382 Fibonacci retracement is satisfactory or not. We could be going down towards, relying on the cloud. 382 would do it probably, but and then you've got your sort of your baseline as well as your support. Your baseline, by the way, showing you that 50% between the highs and lows of the last 26 periods. So it's kind of keeping an eye out for that baseline in terms of in terms of being above it's bullish, being below it's bearish, I suppose. But looking for bounces as opposed to actually talking about it as a trend aspect. Right, cool. Okay, look at this. We're at 25 after, 25 after. Big hugs from the Netherlands. Oh, how Hazelic. How Hazelic. Broshed. Broshed. Yeah, great, cool, super. I'm gonna stick on this for like 5 minutes, and then we'll kick off. Then we'll kick off, eh? Then everything will kick off. Everything will kick off. If this goes in, this is 236 at this point up to a high. It forms a wedge. Then it's going to come in for what's actually a higher low. You know that. So if we push up from here and get to that 569 target, then I'm expecting and anticipating 520, 530 thereafter. 535 at least, you know. That's how I would be looking at that thing going, but whatever, eh? Also, Tubes, you need to send the NFT stuff to send the NFT stuff to Electro Boy or me, or did you already send it to me? Says Jamie there, so you can see that there. Tubes, UNMA, right? Oh, good luck to everybody that's out there in these places where IDAs come in. Are we doing the dubbing thing you mentioned a few days back? Man, if anybody wants to do any dubbing for my channel, then get in touch. But despite the fact that I spoke about it, nobody got in touch with me afterwards. Everyone was like, that's a great idea. That's so great. That's a great idea. Yeah? Nobody wants to do it, though. Even though I have bilingual, fully fluent, bilingual, dual native speakers in the audience of different languages and that. So yeah, I don't know. It's painful looking at this in terms of the candles movement just here, and it not knowing what's going on in our other sort of favorite stocks. So I'm just going to take a wee second to look elsewhere. Oh, aye, that's the diamond. Oh, we're up above the top of the diamond area at $213. Oh, fantastic. Well, that would be cool if we started on the road to higher highs. That would be exciting. Now we can pull back from this point here. Absolutely, wouldn't mind seeing the prices come back down to $209, etc. Don't be alarmed. And also we can retest this thing as well. I mean, we could see the prices going up to 225 and back down again to 212, something like that. That would all be fine as well. Again, just along the course of this thing. But so far we're doing pretty good on that front. That's nice. Good to see it. AMC. Well, it's just wait, the 1 minute. I was on the 1 minute there before on the other one. That explains stuff. 1 hour time frame. So, wow, well, this gap remains. It's a surprise. That's my delivery. That'll be my chair. I got you, mate. It's just the buzzer shit. I hope I don't need a code for Amazon. You know how it is. You know how it is. Right, so yeah, this is done really well. Fantastic. Good on you, AMC. Loving it. Loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it. A little bit cautious about that gap that remains on the chart, but pretty happy to see that it has just done great today. Fantastic. Positive stuff continues. This pull back down the way is a 382. Do want to be very, very keen to point out that we need to take out these higher highs, obviously. So we need to see prices move in towards the 48 area to continue this trend up the way, but we're doing really well at the minute. That's good to see as well. Oopsie. And when my door knocks, hopefully he knocks the door, I'll go check it out. GME as well, pushing up as well outside those targets as well. Fantastic. 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 Right, back in a sec. Cool. Cool. Excellent. Right, sweet. I'm actually just going to catch up with the chat. Let's bring up MMAT. This time is up. I'm going to have to actually tune out now. That's unfortunately all the time we've got. All we have time for today, ladies and gentlemen. Was I completely wrong about this yet? 559. Damn it. Why did I not get to 569? Would have been cool. Right, actually, don't talk shit to people just before you go, Rocky. That's not going to be helpful to anybody. Looking at this thing and thinking, like, how are we going to do in this region? Well, we're doing all right, and we have taken out these highs. No, we haven't. We've just come up for double top highs here. Yeah, it's so you want to be getting that continuation. Obviously, you do. If you see a pullback down the way, you could just have a small ascending triangle. This is obviously a bullish market. I am bullish on this, and I am aiming up towards the 650 area. My main considerations at the time were whether or not we would need to see a pullback, and if we do take out the lows of these regions over here, then I'll be looking for just to push down that little bit further, because there'd be a degree of dropping off, as you can tell by the VPVR. You can't really kind of need to position this just here so that you can see. Way over there, you can see that there's this drop off in the VPVR, and obviously there would be, because that's where the trading is. That's the only place the trading has happened at. If we bring on more price action, then it would fill out a bit more, but it's going to be a big drop off just there. So the weakness just below where we are is real, so that it would get filled in quite easily if that did happen. Wow, that's really nice of you, Keith. Not sure if this helps with the algo for a couple of pints. Thanks so much, man. You know what? It may or may not help with the algo, but it tells you people tuning in and watching along, they get to see that that's a thing. You know, that people value the content. That matters an awful lot to me. It matters a lot to me personally, because of course, you know, I lose money doing this show every day by not just going and trading. I don't know how fantastically amazing my TA has been today to sort of demonstrate that to any new viewers, but that's absolutely the case. So anytime somebody donates to me, it motivates me to keep going doing it, because I do have a life and ambitions and everything else, and money, of course, as we all know, is the facilitator of all of that. So all of you keeping me keeping me going like that is fantastic. Yeah, ascending triangle I'd leave on this one for just now. Fake out territory obviously being the previous lows that you've just had. The movement on it expressing that range taking you down to fill in that gap. On the 4-hour time frame, the momentum from that could carry you down to fill in the entire gap, or indeed the range just carrying you on up towards our next target. This is the consolidation phase that we're at right now, and that makes a hell of a lot of sense. That's MMAT, right? Yes, indeed. So fantastic. So then just another shout out to everybody to let you know, if you want to join the, new chair. That's right, Sasha. Thanks so much. It's just not going to have this stupid bat in the background. It's not a good chair. I'm not looking forward to sitting on it with my bum, but I'm looking forward to not having to see this background behind me as I do my crap. That's basically the reason for it. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. We can see the top 10 points. Number 1, I am not a cat. Meow. Number 2, DMC 17. Number 3, Kitty Babes. Number 4, Dober Mamba. Number 5, Banana Fridge. Number 6, Trade Spotting. Number 7, Kim. Number 8, X. Good to see X in there in that list. Number 9, Apple. Wow. Well, if you're watching along here and you make it through this part of the show, Apple Blossom, mwah, it's lovely to see you. I hope you're doing very well. Good to see you, Joe Maxwell. Good to see you, T1000. Brady Pearl. Hey, buddy. Someone duel me for 113 points, he says. Observe thyself. Rocky's hair when 11K. Rocky's hair? When 11K? Ooh, I wonder. You crap in that chair. Says I am not a cat. Yeah, I do. I'm an IAMS cat. And it's 35 past. Yeah, I'm going to just have to be hard on myself this time and actually make it happen. Now, I don't know if Stream Elements can do credits, which really sucks. I'm not sure how to see the events from today's thing. So I can't actually necessarily know if I'm going to be able to give the shout-outs that I normally give to people at the end, because I want to do my credits, but I don't know how to do it. So this is the Stream Elements jobby, not Stream Labs. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that or not. I think I won't be able to do that. So I don't know. Maybe if I check here, open up that Stream Labels thing, do I get to see how my alerts that way? 2 minutes. Yes. All right. Brian Mullen. 2 minutes. Was that today? Not sure this helps. It does, yeah. Man, Brian, cheeky bastard. I'm supposed to be tuning out 5 minutes ago. I'll take a quick look at AMD and see, but I'm not staying on. I'm not staying on for any great length of time, and then I'll be able to do the. I'll be able to do the chitter chatter thereafter with folk. Sorry, what am I saying? Sorry, I'll be able to do the quick credits takeaway from this thing. Is that close enough to this? I wouldn't really say so, but there's not going to be a gap on the daily time frame as a result, is there? So the daily time frame's got no gap. It's one of these interesting ones, isn't it, where you see that the daily time frame itself has got no gap, but the smaller time frames do. So it's an interesting one, but it's not distinct. It happens here a fair amount of time, and we've got this gap up at the top. Here, this thing here, there's a gap in there around about $118. And it wasn't filled but it was filled on the daily as well. So it's an interesting one. Can we actually reach as high as that? That would be good to see. How far back have we come? I'm surprised I've got so many drawings on my AMD chart over here. We're right at the 618 golden pocket as well. I mean, this was where you'd been aiming to. It's where you would have been aiming to, like realistically. So you got a movement up, pull back down, up towards the 618. Maybe pull back, look for a higher low, then on the way up the way. That type of idea. So that's already kind of happened. Got a golden cross, a positive cross there on the Ichimoku cloud. So obviously looking good. We're above the cloud. Obviously that's all good. It's all bullish and everything. That's all good. The market's been moving up nicely, so that looks quite good. Yep. So we've even come in for that high without divergence on the MACD or the RSI. Interestingly enough, there was divergence there between those highs on the DMI. That's an interesting one there. It's an interesting one. Where did all this crap come from? Wow, that was a good trade, huh? Wow. Fuck yeah. Actually, tell you what, sorry mate, can't do it any longer. Totally got to go. But look at that. Fucking hell. Where did we get the target? Fucking hell. Honestly, look at that. Look at that target for that trade. I didn't draw this in there now. Look at that. Holy shit. Right? That's what happens on this channel. That's not a surprise. I'm not going to piss about trying to explain what's happening in that price action. Why would I piss about explaining what's happening in that price action when you've got an example of a 17-to-1 risk to reward trade that worked out on this? A 17-to-1. Why the fuck? So anyway, by the way, it's not necessarily clear to people all the time. But this here is like magic and on all that sort of stuff over there. That's picking your bum. Right, great, excellent stuff, perfect. Well, back to the big screen because we're done over here. Sorry, Brian, man, that's got a bit distracted there, but it seems there's good reason for it. That's a 17-to-1 risk-reward trade that's on the go there. It's insane. You might not be able to see so clearly just in terms of like how this thing worked and whatever, but like look at that. Anyway, that's cool. I'm assuming that was me that did that. This period of time, though, June up to July, June, yeah. So I got sick around about here, so I don't think it would have been Jamie that was doing it. So it must have been my own charts. Totally got no recollection of it whatsoever. Anyway, we did that. That's fucking amazing. That's good times. Good times to be had, hey? Good times to be had over here. Wonderful stuff. And I'm going to do this sort of reverse roll call. So we've got Brian there. He's the disappointed guy that didn't get the AMD TA. Just kidding. Thanks so much, Brian. Really appreciate your 20 blabs there. By the way, I'm positive on this. It's a good market, bullish market, blah, blah, blah. All good stuff. But, we've up to the 618. We could easily pull back, push on up again, go in for another high, and then have a pullback for an actual organic market sort of retest. Where would I retest to? Probably back down to these previous. I'd probably retest $100. Probably push on up from here to 136, then do a 36%, a 30% pullback to $100. That's probably what I'm looking at. Not remember what I said though, so like that. So that's that one. Anyway, yeah. Have I gone back to the big screen? No, not the big screen yet. Here's the big screen. Just proof that we're not going back to looking at charts, right? Needs to do that. Give credit to Jamie. Rocky Outcrop, give credit to Jamie. I wanted to give credit. Was it Jamie's trade? Maybe it was Rocky and I took the advice. I can't say. Oh, it was your one, was it? That's cool, man. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I honestly don't know. It was probably you then, eh? The thing is, that's great, man. It's fantastic. Same sort of thing. Jamie and I, we trade together, have done for years. We would not be surprised at all if Jamie had drawn this on my charts at all. It's the sort of thing we talk about. It's unusual for Jamie to draw 17.5 to 1 risk reward in there, but hey, shit, he must have been inspired by my chat if that's the type of thing. Jamie doesn't talk about Jamie doesn't tends not to blow smoke up people's arse by putting stuff like this on the show too often. But yeah, man, if you did this then, that's bloody brilliant. Super happy for you. I don't care. Love my brother. There's no anything in that. Whatever I said about myself there applies exactly the same to him. Right, yeah, cool. Keith Kleber, thanks so much for your donation. Thank you so much to Tubes. Thank you so much to Ed Air, who subscribed earlier on. Thanks so much to Taboo Tongue, Arts of Labor. Excited for Discord class. Man, Taboo Tongue, Arts of Labor, is so cool that you went and visited our man Ronaldo over there at his gig. How awesome is that? At the Troubadour, that you're friends with each other. It's cool that you were doing that. Cardano, please, love your content, man. Oh my god, sorry, Grant Halstead, missed that one. It's only $2 though, so I'm not going to cry myself to sleep about it. Amber donated $10 through Super Chat. Thanks so much for that. Looking at MMAT, that was a good laugh. Let's go check it out as well with Sal. Saw your plants there, by the way, recently, Sal. Wonderful looking stuff. Really lovely to look at. It'd be cool. I'd love to have stuff like that to look at myself. And yeah, right, cool. So we're still just kicking about in here. That early enthusiasm still like just giving us those feels, right? Giving us those feelsy feelings. Oh, don't like the look of that thing. Oh, don't like the look of the pushing it down past that. Anyway, fake out territory on this one. Well, let's not panic. I suppose we can stay tuned for 2 more minutes or whatever. But if we do move on down the way there, then I suppose that would be interesting to see. But I feel like, we're just at fake out territory. It's no big deal. Cool. Rock Outcrop, you're the best, man. Thanks always for what you do. You're welcome, Jiu-Jitsu guy. I want to see this thing pulling back inside that ascending wedge before I tune out. No, it was you. Don't listen to him. Just own it. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Yes, join Patreon for Discord membership and learn about harmonic trading with us for an hour each day this week after market close. That's right. That's right. Pushing. Just come on, back up into here so we can kick a bit in this area, you fanny. I don't like it. I don't like it. It does look to be pushing outside of it. Let's make it look like it's really pushing outside of it. Yeah, actually, let's make it scary looking. Yeah. Brilliant. Right. Cool. Chart. Rocket Crop. Oh, sorry. I'm just entertaining myself, Sal. Just entertaining myself as I get to the end of the show here. Yep. Whoops. Yeah, just pushing outside that zone there. I moved the little line at the lower end to make it scarier looking for funsies. For funsies on this one. For funsies on this one. This is a bullish impulse. This gives us good confidence about later moves. The immediate impact of this impulse was felt first thing in the first 5 minutes of the markets being open today. Afterwards, we've been operating within what is known as a trading range. There is the possibility of this thing being an ascending triangle that looks more like this, that we operate in throughout the day, actually, bringing us right the way through to towards the end of the day there. Or it could already be starting to get broken. How many touches are there? Frankly speaking, not enough. Not really enough. So if we kick about in this region for a while, then you're looking for it to come up there and maybe bounce again at 558, 560, 569 maybe, pull back down the way. Really depends on how you're looking at it. 1 minute time frame over here so you can see that it's just consolidating in this region, right? So that was the panic over, in a sense, like whenever you first check the charts, like, oh my god, this thing's moved, it's ripping. And while it was for the first 3 minutes of the day, it immediately stopped doing that and began sidewaysing. And so then it's always been a case, so ever since I kind of opened up this chart, it's been a case of trying to put our fingers on the pulse of what's going on over here. And there's various different methodologies for doing so, and I've tried a few so far. Right, cool, excellent. Actually, screw this, I'm tuning out, gotta go. Can't stay on forever. If I start doing that, I'm making compromises everywhere. Can't compromise on everything in life. You can't be all things to all people, especially not all of the time. When you go full screen, when you go full screen on your cam, your mic sounds muffled. Weird. Thanks for telling me that. Need to know. Don't know why. Weird. Thank you for that information. Weird. Yes, perfect. Great. We'll try to get everybody's stuff over by tomorrow at the latest. Don't know what that is. I also have stuff from Ape Andy to send you, Electro Boy. Oh, Electro Boy, by the way, when it comes to that thing, my own ideas are simply put that I guess the theme would be technical analysis and trading and charts and all that. The theme could be Rocky Outcrop if you're able to define what that is, but I don't think that anybody else out there in the world actually can, despite having tried a lot with professionals. So then it leaves me thinking as well, just, technical analysis would be the theme, the accessory would be a cup of tea, and basically, man, just knock yourself out. It's me. And that if you don't know me by now, well, I guess you'll never, ever, ever, ever know me. No, you'll never know me. F you money. Thanks so much for tuning in, Stephen Kimbler, Electro Boy, I Am Not a Cat, Brady Pearl, Iriam, good to see you, Monkey, good to see you, Katie Babe, Salamander, Banana Fridge, Amber, Fitness, Finance, and all y'all, Sir David P, Sasha, I Am Not a Cat, meow, Carissa, good to see you in there as well, Riley, Greg, Sal, always good chat, lovely person. Brian Mullins, yay, ha ha ha. Thanks, Rocky. Always love. Thank goodness didn't cost you too dearly. Dad, good to see you. Jenna, good to see you as well. Hi, Jenna Malone. Hiya, Janine, good to see you. Mr. Win, Shepherd Unicorns, Jens Quint. Jens Quint said that, got it in the end there. Jens Quint. Dang, just got my MMAT order filled at 5:30. Ooh, damn it. Because we're back down at $5 currently on MMAT, as I can see here. It's not on your screen, but I can see it. Ooh. Not looking to sort of jump in on FOMO on anything really ever as part of this. Part of what we do here, that's what we don't do. Electro Boy, thank you so much as well for being a part of everything that we do here. You're a great member of the community. You're absolutely brutal in your satire and your piss taking on the Discord chat the other day. It was a good laugh, really funny, really funny. We're just trying to push back up. Come on, Matt. Come on, I know that you put in a lower low in the 1 minute time frame, but that's just the 1 minute time frame. Who cares about that? It's basically a non-time frame. But on the 5 minutes, yeah, okay, on the 5 minutes, you also got a bit low, didn't you, there on that one? Oh, you're struggling a wee bit just now. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, yeah, Feisty Goats, good to see you. Always love seeing you. I don't expect everybody to be able to tune in all around the world all the time because of time zones, etc. Evan A, Keith Kleiber, and Harriet. Good to see you, Harriet. Good to see you. I Am Not a Cat. Good to see you all of you. Love you all so much. And as well to everybody, Harrison, thank you for pledging $6.50 through Patreon. See you on the Discord soon. Alex Whitaker as well. See you on the Discord soon. Thanks so much. Drew Stoll, thank you, Rocky and Jamie, for the grip of information and the love of the new format. Can't wait to take profits from GME after MOAS so I can reinvest in other great companies. Even after MOAS, I believe in the future of GME, says Drew Saul. Fantastic. Super positive. Love to see it. Throwing in a bit for some MMAT GME, or MMAT TA, said Amber earlier on. I think I've covered off everybody that did anything today. Thank you so much. That brings us through to the end, again, of the Rocky Aircraft Show, the show that you tune into because this is, as the community, this is your route to financial freedom, financial success, independence, and of course, just living a better life, understanding the world and having a community and society around you. We're all individual traders that rely on ourselves, but society is a good thing, and we are creating what we want, the change that we want to see in the world. We're absolutely delivering on that front, and that is my thanks to all of you, because when I say we, really, I'm here in front of the camera, but you're there every day leading your own fully realized, absolutely wonderful lives with people around you that love you and care for you, that you care for and love as well. Yet you're here choosing to spend time with me and everybody else and getting into that mindset for a good day's trading ahead. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoy the rest of the markets as they are open now. They have been open for the last hour and 20 minutes. Thanks so much. My name's Rocky Outcrop, and I'll see you again next time.